Yes, yes, yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Elly Tel Cockerel. It's the Queen Elly takeover with Chang, Tel Chang and Ball. You know, this is the station to be at when you want reality mixed in with a bit of delusion. Because you know what? I like a bit of delusion because it takes you away from being real. And then in your delusional state, you're winning the FA Cup, the Champions League, like that. We're Man City in my delusional state, right? So, Chang, what do you think about? Are you going the delusional way, or are you going a bit of mix, or are you sticking to your reality today?
I'm going to stay very grounded. I'm going to stick to reality before I ascend to cloud nine and get lost in the hype and the
Yeah,
euphoria that
yeah,
followed after the North London derby that took place on Sunday. I am very much looking forward to tonight's game away
yes,
at Stamford Bridge because we know that Spurs love nothing more than to bounce back from a demoralizing defeat. Put it this way, and although the news coming out from the squad camp isn't too pleasing, now that we've lost both Werner and Ben Davis to long-term injuries, uh, and Udogi is out for the rest of the season as well.
yeah.
But if
Operation.
anything, if anything has taught me about Big Ange and his squads in the past, I have no doubt that whoever he deploys tonight against Chelsea, they will be up for it, and
Yeah,
we can only
agree.
hope for more of the second half from that Northern derby tonight at Stamford Bridge, not the first half. God willing.
And you know what though? We've still got Højbjerg, haven't we? Come on. I'm not going to give up this shirt until he leaves. Look, Højbjerg, he's brilliant at scoring own goals. Come on, Højbjerg, stick one in our net, but stick it in the other net this time. Do you know what? I've got so much stick for Højbjerg scoring that own goal. So I watched Match of the Day twice just to clear it in my own head that it was all of the team's responsibility to zonal mark and to man mark because they did a bit a mixture of both. And Højbjerg was man marking his man. Unfortunately for him, the man he was marking bumped him, and it put him off balance, and he headed it in the own goal. I'm not saying he's totally not at fault, but I've played football as well. And when you get bumped and you lose your balance, sometimes the ball can go anywhere. And it did it into the back of our net. Unfortunately for me, because I'm getting ribbed left, right, and centre, Chang. They're coming for me. The Højbjerg haters. Anyway,
Can I
enough
just say?
of
Can I just say something very quickly in
yeah, of
defense
course
of
you can.
Højbjerg before we go into the corner that he scored from? If you were to watch the build up to that corner, I for one felt that was very, very unnecessary for our backline to be playing the ball in amongst themselves in that final third,
Yeah,
especially when they're being pressed that high up the pitch. And
I know.
I this is something that has to be addressed because this is actually not the first time we've seen it happen. It's happened before during
Yeah,
Jose. It's happened before during Pochettino, even during
yeah.
Conte to a certain extent. Our own defenders, our own players, trying to be too clever with playing out from the back, and then they get caught in possession. And more often than not, we
Mm,
have to pay the price when the opposition punishes for our
mm,
inability to clear the
very
lines or
true.
rather to clear the ball. I felt for that first opening 10, 15 minutes, we were giving ourselves undue pressure, whether it's our inability to find players with our long raking passes from the back, or even trying to get out from the traps when it comes to, goalkeeper to defenders and then defenders trying to transition out to midfielders. That
Yeah,
corner was completely unnecessary.
I know.
If in doubt, the first thing, I mean, I have never played professional football, but as a goalkeeper for my locals
You
Malaysian
play.
Spurs fan club, whenever I see opposition players trying to pressure my defenders, I would ask for the ball and just hoof it up as far and as high as I can,
Yeah,
away from
Oh
goal
my
mouth,
God.
away from your own final third, and just clear the lines however you can.
You're
Somehow or
right,
other,
Jack.
our own players didn't get the memo. They didn't do just that, and I think we lost the ball something like 3 or 4 times even before we
Yeah,
gave away that corner. It was that
we
bad,
did.
and
It's
it
fine
wasn't just
detail.
misplaced passes, or it wasn't just only misplaced passes or inability to find players when trying to play out from the back. It was just a lack of communication. The players didn't seem to
Very
be in
true.
sync with one another. There was a
Mm.
there was some breakdown in communication, put it this way, that led to the corner being
Yeah.
conceded. And surprise, surprise, Spurs being Spurs, we conceded from the first available corner. And not only did we concede, we actually helped them. We helped the opposition score the goal. I'm not going to lay into Højbjerg for this, but the players have to
Yeah.
know how to get goal sight. When you're defending a corner against an opposition player, you have to be goal sight and you have to be on the right side of the player to win the header. Unfortunately for him, Højbjerg was on the wrong side of the player, and even the slightest of contact would have helped the ball on its way.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was so deflating to have to concede that early, because I felt that we were actually the team in the ascendancy before we
Mm.
conceded. And even after we conceded, we did create the chances. And I was
No.
still bummed out about that VAR decision, that equalizer by Van der Ven that was ruled offside. I mean, if you were to
I know.
follow the letter of the law, I can see why they would deem it offside if the ball hadn't rebounded or if it hadn't come off any other opposition players. But the ball did come off Tomiyasu and Thomas Partey prior to it falling very kindly for Van der Ven to just stroke it home. And I believe it was Christian Romero who then came out on social media saying that West Ham themselves scored from a very similar position earlier this season at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Now, I don't know what the rule book is when it comes to this sort of ruling, when it comes to offsides that are not legal, or rather, should I say, they are not in effect when the ball rebounds off opposition players. But it felt like for similar incidences, why is there no consistency from the
That's
officials when it
right.
comes to making these sort of decisions that are going to cost us? Because in the West Ham game, they got the goal. They were given the goal despite the ball rebounding off our players and the West Ham player being offside when he scored at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But in a similar
Yeah.
incident that we saw on Sunday, somehow or other the goal wasn't given for us, even though it was those exact similar circumstances that West Ham scored their winning goal. So it still
Yeah.
beggars belief why some of these officials are even still in the job, given how everything is all recorded and replayed and
To know.
analyzed very very carefully. So I think a lot
Mm.
more scrutiny has to be given, a lot more care and attention to these decisions on field and off field that will affect teams and how they how they fare in the league. But
Yeah.
overall, I would say we had a very good second half. We were able to not concede in the second half, and on top of not conceding, we somehow or other managed to get 2 goals, which was
Mm.
a big surprise to me given how ineffective our forward line was. So I can only say more of that second half later tonight against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and I would not want to have a repeat of that first half tonight either. Back to you, Queen Ellie.
Okay. Box office. I'm going to call you box office chain. Right. So you gave a very, very good analysis of what happened. The only thing I would say is about, not because I like Højbjerg, but I believe he was on the right side of the player. Because when you're defending a corner, you've got to be in the line of the goalie so that he can see the ball. You mustn't be in the line
Mm-hmm.
of the goalie, sorry. So what he did, he
Okay.
adjusted his body, right? And then the player bumped him subtly, not to give a foul. It was a subtle push. And if you notice, just before then, Ben Shite, as I call him, not Ben White, right? Sorry for my language, but we're not monetized anyway, right? Right. He was impeding Vicario, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what we should have done, we could have avoided Vicario not being able to get to the ball, right? Because
Okay.
he was stopping him. He was stopping him from moving over. So even if Højbjerg headed it towards goal because he was bumped, obviously his intention was to head it wide because he was bumped. He
Okay.
lost his trajectory, and that's why the ball went in. Not because he's an incompetent player, like a lot of. It can happen to anybody when it's an own goal. So many own
I
goals are
agree.
scored, right? But
Yes, I
because of
agree.
that block, Vicario couldn't get, and all the other players, they were doing what they were told to do, which is zonal mix marking. It's called, because I was talking to my brother Boo, who was at my lovely party, and he's very good on picking up on what pundits say and what sports say. He listens to a lot of people, how we defended that goal. It was zonal mix. So some were man marking and some were zonal marking at the back post. Because what Arsenal do, which is very clever, they occupy the back post and then they play it to the near post. Yeah. So all that marking of the back post players doesn't come into effect. Right. So they tricked us in effect. Right. So we're marking at the back post. The players are doing what they're supposed to do. Right, Mark. But what they should have done is put a man, and Vicario should have insisted that one of those zonal markers, right, come and help him with Ben White, who was putting him off. So it was all avoidable. If only we made the right details, done the right details in defending our goal. And like that's where the set piece coach, you should learn, because we've conceded many goals like this. All right, this one was an own goal, but we've conceded where the opposition have actually scored. Well, we've been zonal marking only. So they changed to this zonal mix and man marking thing to see if we'd improved. And it made it worse because players didn't take responsibility. Right, Romero as vice captain, Madders as vice captain, and Sonny as our captain should have saw Ben White there. And even if Vicario didn't insist on having somebody there, because I've heard that Vicario said he can cope, but sure, you can't cope, Vicario, because we're conceding many goals where the players impeded you and the referee hasn't given a foul. That's about the 8th or 9th goal that we've conceded, to my knowledge, where Vicario has told them, look, I can cope. Be the bigger man, Vicario, and say, I can't cope. I need somebody to help me out. Right. And then all of that would have been, I'm not saying they wouldn't have scored, because they still could have scored, but it would have been more preventable for them to score. You see, we would have had more chance. Right. So someone's on Ben White, pushes him away from Vicario. Even if that ball was played to the player to Højbjerg, preventing the near postman from scoring, Vicario would have had the trajectory to get across and make a save easily. He would have saved it because he would have been able to make it. So these are fine details, but they're important details. Yeah. And we could have prevented it. Right. So that's my £5 worth on it. But we'll move on because we've got a lot of people in the chat, Chang. So we've got to,
Yes, correct.
pay to the people in the chat as well. Right. So we have David Shear, I should say, horses boiled Ben mate. Oh, right. No, this is not the beginning. Sorry about that. That's the end. Right. Hold on. Let me just scroll up to the beginning. That's better. Let's go up a bit more. Right. Here. This computer. I'm rubbish on computers. That's it. Right. So we got. Right. So the first one in the house is David Shear. Hello, David Shear. Rosie Cobber boy, a bit tipsy, he's saying. Okay. Well, you've had a few because we lost to Arsenal, probably. I don't know. I'm not sure. David Shear again, only being honest. Lamel, how are you? We're fine. How are you? Answer that question. Obviously, you look fine. You're feeling fine, but we lost 3-2 to Arsenal. So it does have an effect. on me, I don't know about you, Chang. I feel like rotten after we've lost any game, but to lose to Arsenal is the ultimate pits. It's sick to your stomach. And then what I do, I normally stay away from. I've not been on many shows, just put it that way, because I just have to. I have to sort of calm down, and then I'll start talking. Are you the same? Do you sort of shy away from the streams, or do you go on the streams to get your
I go on the
£5?
streams. I do go on the streams, but I try to stay clear of social media, especially the fans who bicker among themselves as to
Yeah,
how maybe Postecoglou should have marshaled that midfield, or how he should have set up the midfield before kickoff. How maybe having Højbjerg and Bentancur together as a midfield pairing would have been ill-advised, given how Arsenal would be trying to overload that midfield and create problems for us trying to even play off in the back. And
yeah,
to Postecoglou's credit, if you look at the second half, the moment Bissouma and Sarr came on, somehow we look a lot better at the back as well as the midfield, and we were getting a lot more balls forward, and that led to Vicario being able to get up so high up the pitch to tuck away the rebound, a very kind rebound for him to get us the first goal of
yeah,
the second half. And we just kept up the intensity. I felt that even in the in that first half alone, when we conceded and the team just piled forward, Christian Romero, how unlucky could he have been to have hit the upright with the goal at his mercy from one of
yeah.
those
And he was bumped. He was
the
actually bumped.
Madison corner. And
He was
what
bumped, and he was put off balance, and
he
that's
was
why he hit
pushed.
the post. Yeah,
That is correct.
he was pushed. Yeah, so that should have been a penalty in my book, because he's actually
But it
stopped him
wasn't
from
even reviewed.
scoring. They
It wasn't
review it,
reviewed.
but no, they didn't review that one. But even if they reviewed it, sorry, I'm sure they wouldn't have given the penalty, because that's the way the cookie crumbles with Spurs. I
But
think
but
I'm not saying that another team would have got the penalty, but it seems like they're paying us back. It just seems
but
that
are you
way.
surprised? Are you surprised, Queen Elly, that none of our players actually protested when Thomas Partey put his hands on a Vicario, and that sort of put him off his guard, or rather, it sort of caught him
I
off guard
know.
and
They have
caught
to
him
be
off
more
balance?
vocal. Do you know
Exactly.
what? That's where I wanted Richarlison to be there, because he would have been the first one, even though he's not our vice captain or captain. He would have been the first one up in the referee's grill, saying, "What are you playing at? He's pushed our goalie and he's put him off." Yeah. Either way, there were so many decisions that didn't go our way, and Michael Oliver didn't have control of the game, and he wasn't concentrating. Either when in a London derby, you've got to really be hot on all the players, because there's so much shithousery being played, because you get the bragging rights, right? And you saw Arsenal when the game finished. They're like hot cock a hoop, like we would have been if we won, you know? But they didn't deserve to win in my book. We deserved to win because we had the best chances. They had 3 chances and they put them all away. Yeah, all right. They might have had a couple more, but the 3 that they did have, 2 corners and a ball over the top where Davis wasn't fast enough, really. He got back, don't get me wrong, sorry, but he steered the player on his left foot, and he should have steered him away from goal. But he showed him his left foot, and then Saka, the rest is history. He was bound to score. Anyway, I better get to the chat. I better get to the chat.
Go back to the chat. Yes, exactly.
Sorry about that, because we've got loads of people in the chat and we're going to fall behind. So David Shearer, I've done that one. Right. So how did Leeds go? Right, Leeds United, you mean, David Shearer?
I think he means Leeds United. Yep.
Yeah, Leeds United. I'm not like, do you know what? I want to skip talking about Leeds United. No disrespect, but I've got to get to the chat. I'll talk about them later. I'm good, thank you, David Shearer. It looks like Leeds are going to finish the season in playoffs. Yeah, they lost 4-0 to my husband's team, 4-0 to QPR. So if you lose 4-0 to QPR, you don't deserve to come up in my book. Right, so David Shear again, he's saying, great to hear too big a club not to be in the Premier League. Right, yeah, true. Bet you a fiver Queen Elly mentions Pierre-Emile Whitehead in the next 5 minutes. In the first 5 minutes. Well, I do. Do you know what? I left it a bit too long. I'm slacking. The disabled team saying, lol, David Shear. We missed out on a huge party at hers at Leo's place. We aren't worthy. It was actually at my place, not at Leo's place, if you know what I mean. Right? It was actually at my place. Right, here we go. We got this. Lee Statham, welcome, Lee. Nice to see you in our chat. Hello, everyone. Right. Next one is David Shear. David Shear said they're late for. We were a bit late. Sorry. Listen, we sometimes have a few technical issues, and I've got to check with Chang that everything's cool on his side, because sometimes you get technical problems, sometimes I do. Sometimes I find it difficult to find the music because, you know, Talkable and Tel Cockerel, all their stuff is there, plus other people's, and it's like a jungle, honestly. But I found it in the end. Right. Who's that? Say who that is, because I like the way you say it, Chang.
Big up Elly and Mr. Cheng. Ni hao. Ni hao means how do you do? Thank you very much, Mr. Agambar, the best anchor bar in the world.
I love the way you say it. That's why I like. And I saw Chris Agambar yesterday at Ben's coffee shop. What a nice man, beautiful man, you know, and he can cook a mean chicken as well. David Shear saying, how are you, Chris? So they're all talking to one another. Let's see if we've got a, because Jose said don't read the ones out where they're talking to each other, but I like to. David Shear, I'm going to, they're all talking to one another. Right, my niece, Drew La. Big up Auntie Elly Chang and the chatters. Yes. Now we've got Tel Cockerel. I wonder who that is. Who's Tel Cockerel, Chang? Do you know him?
Senor Garcia. Senor
Jose
Garcia.
Oh, yeah, Senor Garcia. Good morning, you bunch of fruits. Yeah, fruits and nuts. 4 hours into the election, still another 11 hours to go. Have a great show and smash the lights for Elly and Chang. Well, I've done a postal vote. I can't be asked to go down to the call. You know, you go down to the nearest poll station. Well, mine's down the road in a school called Prince of Wales. But I just think I like to do the postal vote now, because when you go there, they ask you for your name. Sometimes you've got to even show your passport. One year they did, I think, because there were so many false votes or something. They thought the election was rigged. Right, so everybody's talking to each other. Jose saying, watch out for Elly tonight here on our very own mop-up show. And I've invited Coover on, so you're going to get the taste of Coover Bear as well. And I phoned him this morning. We had a nice old natter for about 2 hours. I think it was less than that, though, actually, about an hour and something. Right, so Drew is saying, big up the disabled team, Stu. I'm good, thank you. Hope you're well. Looking forward to the smashing the Chelsea. Yeah, or the Chavs, as they're otherwise known. I just call them Chelsea. That's how they sing. Bloody morons, some of them. Hello, Elly, Chang and chat. That's our Mia. Big up Spurs Between the Lines. Come on, get over there and subscribe to Mia. Brilliant channel. Destiny 5, obviously, he loves Højbjerg, like I said. That's why he's got 5 after his name. Or it might be that he likes Jan Vertonghen. I wonder which one, Jan Vertonghen or Højbjerg. I think Jan Vertonghen. Porro was pushed into Højbjerg, which caused the goal. Yeah, you see, I just saw the first push, yeah, because I watched it twice, but that did happen as well. And basically, it put Højbjerg off. Look, I'm not making excuses for him. I'm just saying when you're bumped, it changes your trajectory, and he headed it in instead of heading it wide. Yeah, so, you know me, I will always defend Højbjerg. He could have scored 5 own goals, and I'd say 5 of them weren't his fault. Right, so Julie's saying, big up, Cobber. David Shy, I hope you're well. All good, my end. Just this miserable weather, heavy rain and thunderstorms here in North London. Yeah, there was like thunderstorms with lightning and heavy rain. It was like, it wasn't hail, but it was nearly hell. It was like, when you get little pockets in the ice, in the rain, sorry, that's what it
Yes.
was like. It was
Yes.
very, very heavy. Right, so we're welcoming Ben Kaufman. Hope your birthday went well. He went out to a restaurant with his family, and he recommended an Indian restaurant that myself and Leo went to with Stuart. Stuart drove us there. It was lovely, Ben. It was lovely. Oh well, you called me a flip flop, right? But I'm not flip flopping when it comes to Højbjerg because I just done that as a joke, right? I always do things to wind people up because I'm a bit sarcastic and I'm a bit of a wind up merchant. So when I talk about Højbjerg, like people say, "Oh, you can't be Højbjerg, he's pants." Well, I don't think he's pants. Sorry, I think he's a good player, but he just can't move the ball quickly. He makes errors. There you go. I've owned up to it. Tel Cockerel saying 2 number 5s in Bentley and Højbjerg. The common denominator is that they were both. You see what I get? Come on, Tel. All right. If you think he's pants, I'll respect your opinion, but I just don't agree with it. There you go. And Mia saying, Drew, I travel my way. It's nice here by the beach. Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to pay a visit to you, Mia, and I expect you to cook me macaroni de forno. And if you don't make it, get mum to make it, and throw in some kofteves and some nice Greek salad with it, and I'll be there on your doorstep as long as you let me in. Mind you, like it's a running joke with Mia that she's got Romero stashed in her oh my God. The disabled team, welcome. Big up, Ben Kaufman. Hope you're well, mate. Ben Kaufman's replying, if hypothetically we lose 5 games in a row, does Levy sack Ange? Good question. Over to you, Mr. Box Office Chang. How would we answer this one?
That depends on the nature of the losses. I mean, I could be wrong. If you do set up the team to throw the game, or rather you set up the team the way he did against Newcastle away or Fulham away, or one of those matches that ended in a complete debacle, then yes, your tenure will be called under question. Your long-term future at Spurs will be under review before next season. But if let's say you put up a hell of a fight, assuming we get another 3-1 or 4-1 loss to Chelsea tonight, the same way we lost to them earlier this season when we had 2 players sent off and numerous others injured, then you could say that those defeats weren't those defeats weren't self-inflicted. Those defeats were part and parcel of the game. Nothing that you can do really. Sometimes when you get injuries and sending offs that are part and parcel of the match. But as I mentioned earlier, if he doesn't learn to adapt soon, and he has to adapt soon, because given how we have been losing games to the likes of Fulham and Newcastle, and even now Arsenal, the next 3 games, Chelsea, Manchester City, and Liverpool, these are going to be the make or break games for our season. I won't necessarily say that we will miss out on 5th, but even if we do, it's not all doom and gloom, because even before the beginning of the season, a lot of the pundits and journalists and even the media outlets had us as contenders for relegation. Without Harry Kane, without a replacement for him to score the goals, knowing that we will be very leaky at the back with Eric Dyer and Ben Davies and Emerson Royal still on our books. Right now, I am just going to sit back and await tonight's results and watch with trepidation as to how Big Ange sets up his team. We will get a very good idea what to expect next season when he has the likes of Porro and Van der Ven and Romero to call upon for tonight. Because if we don't deploy Dragushin at some point, then you will start to ask yourself, what was the point, or what was the objective of trying to beat Bayern Munich to Dragushin signing if you're not even going to deploy him with the likes of Ben Davies and Udogi out for the rest of the season.
I know. Do you know what? Right? You said Ange needs to adapt, right? But he won't.
Yep.
He's not going to adapt for anybody, right? He's not going
And
to
that's very
change.
infuriating.
So we have to move forward, right? In the 5 games that we've got. Is it 4 games or 5 games? One of the two. 5. I think it's 5 games we've got left, isn't it? Or 4.
Yes, okay. After tonight,
So
it's 4.
we've got Chelsea, we've got 5, right? So we know that Anderson adapted all season. He's tweaked slightly, but it's not an adaptation, right? Where he does the substitutions to change the midfielders, what they're going to give him, right? He doesn't usually bring on a defender. It's very rare unless he loses a defender, like against Aston Villa when he lost Van der Ven quite early on and he brought on Dragushin, didn't he? Right, but now
Yep.
you see that he could have played Dragushin in Porro's position if Porro didn't get fit, right? But Porro got fit for the Arsenal game, and then he had a dilemma whether to play Emerson or Davis on the left, right? And a lot of fans were saying, don't play Davis because he's going to be roasted because he hasn't got the pace, whereas Emerson has. He might not have the experience and maybe the defending. I would say Emerson's just as good as a defender as Davis in one respect, but he hasn't got the experience, right? I just feel that he would have had the pace to get there quicker to recover because Van der Ven was behind the ball and he was trying to recover, but he was still way behind because we play high risk, high reward football, right? So when you push up, you're going to leave yourself exposed. And what happens? The mop, i.e. Van der Ven, right, would about 90% of the time he mops up and we don't concede a goal, right? But the 10% that we do, they've punished us, the teams. Unfortunate for us, they've all gone in. Some of them have not gone in, but most of them have gone in, right? So we get punished very heavily, and it's apparent. It looks apparent that we should, Ange Postecoglou should change his system. But in a sense, most of our goals have not been conceded where the ball's gone over the top. Most of our goals are from set pieces. I think we're the 3rd worst in set pieces. Is that right? We're about the 2nd or 3rd
I could be
worst.
wrong. Let me just check the statistics very quickly on that.
We could even be the worst now at conceding set pieces. Right, I should have done my research, but that's because I'm like wallowing because we lost to Arsenal. I haven't really been interested for the last whatever days since we played them. Yeah, I don't even remember it. Do you know what? You want to blanket, you want to put it out of your mind. You don't want to think about losing to Arsenal. Do you know? It's the worst feeling in the world. And then you've got all the bantering coming on as well. So I just steered clear. But that is a very good question, Ben. But you know what? It's like you've got to, you know Ange's system, so you've got to get to know it. And he's not going to change for anybody. But regardless if we agree with him or not, he's not going to change. He's not. It's not because he's stubborn. He believes that this system will work, right? Because it's worked everywhere. And then I hear the argument, oh, but this is the Premiership. He has to change. Otherwise, we're going to get found out. But what I believe, what he believes, right? I've said this so many times. The players are not disciplined within his system, right? So they're not supposed to always leave Van der Ven exposed, right? They're supposed to get back into position because of lazyitis kicking in, what I call lazyitis, right? The players, when they lose possession, they're supposed to revert to form and support Van der Ven. But some players, they found so much wanting out position where they've pushed up too high. You're supposed to do a mid block and then a high block. But what they do the high block and they all push up and then there's a massive gap. And the only one who can recover is Van der Ven. They should be more disciplined. He doesn't tell them to do that. They're supposed, because then they lose their discipline, Chang, right? And they're out of position. And that's why we're so exposed. It's not because Angie's system is bad. Angie's system is fantastic if all the players revert to form. But you've seen it. You've seen Basuma jogging back like he's got no care in the world. Udogie, he's so... I forgive Udogie sometimes because he's so out of breath, because he's a 21-year-old player, right? He's built like a brick house, but he even runs out of energy because he's pushing up so high, and he gets found out because he doesn't get back into position. And then what will happen? Van der Ven will mop up for him. But the times where they've got through Van der Ven, we saw it when Newcastle, when Isaac held his run, and you can't be offside if you're in your own half. So he knew this, right? So he sees all the players out of position. He sees that they're not going to catch him. The only one who's going to catch him is Van der Ven, yeah? Unfortunately for us, Van der Ven falls on his back and goes head over heels because he slips.
Yep.
Like my brother called him, Slippy Van der Ven. He made me laugh because I often have chats with my brothers or other YouTubers about it. But my brother made me laugh, Slippy Van der Ven. You see, and then we're 1-0 down. And then when we're chasing the game, then we go 2-0 down because they've got 3 fast forwards, and the only one who can get them, well, Porro was injured, wasn't he? I think was Porro injured. Yeah, Porro was injured.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, so we didn't have his pace to recover because he often gets back. We didn't play Sarr, who can really, he's like our engine. Yeah, we didn't play Sarr from the beginning in the Newcastle game, I believe.
I think we did play him from the beginning. I could be wrong. I think we did deploy him from the beginning together with Basuma.
Sorry, I've got that one wrong then. Yeah, with Basuma. Basuma, fantastic technical player. Don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic player, but he's not the one to fight for you or run back. Not all the time. Sometimes he will, but when he doesn't, that's when we get caught. And also Sarr is not 100% fit. He's carrying a back injury. So Ange Postecoglou's managing his minutes, isn't he? And we lose the game 4-0 over fine details. We actually, I think we had more possession in that game, I believe. I think we had slightly more possession, or if we didn't, we had slightly less possession. So there wasn't a big gulf. Like you look at the stats, but they don't tell you the story of the match, right? So when Ben asked this question, will he get the sack? I don't think so, personally. I think the board, right, if they sack him, I think they're making a big mistake, because I think what Ange Postecoglou needs is more technical players and more hard-working players to do his system. Yeah, because you can have all the technical skill, Chang, but if you're not willing to put that hard work like Man City players do you see Pep, right? He only gets up when he sees something wrong, right? Whereas Ange standing there and he's learning who's going to cut the mustard and who he's going to keep, right? And the ones he's going to keep, he gives them a chance. Now, he knows that he's not going to keep Højbjerg. Højbjerg's going to leave. So he doesn't often start Højbjerg. And I know Mia says every time Højbjerg starts, we lose, which is true. We do, right? But it's not all one player's fault. There's another 10 players on that pitch that made errors that led to the goals. Like you pointed out, Chang, right? They were like schoolboys mucking about with the ball, and then we concede the corner. And then there's errors made on marking on the corner. Yeah, Vicario makes an area because he thinks he's strong enough and he can cope. I'm a man, I can cope. If Ben White's on me, I can push him off. But you can't, because Ben White's pushed you towards your goal and put you off balance. And then they score. And then they get another corner, bad marking again, but this time Kai Havertz scores the goal. Yeah? So it's little details that lose you games. It's not because we're look, Arsenal are a better footballing team than that. Everybody knows they can pass the ball better than us. But we gave them a game. That second half, even the first half, we gave them a game. We were always in the game, right? And when we scored the equaliser, that was, I think, when we scored the equaliser, I think if we scored that, I think we would have won the game if they allowed it, because we would have had the momentum. That's my own personal opinion. I don't know what everybody else thinks. I think if
I
that goal
felt
was
that
allowed,
I felt that the equalizer that was ruled out for offside totally changed the complexion of the match. Because if we had equalized, assuming that we had equalized, and if they do take the lead again, it will still only be 2-1 and not 2-0, which means that the
yeah,
next team who scores would then have the impetus to then go on and win the game. But because it
yeah,
was not 1-0 when they scored, I mean, it wasn't 1-1 when they scored the second. It was already 2-0, and that then allowed them to just play from a position of power. And when
yeah,
the third goal went in, before the half-hour mark, you just feared the worst. You just feared the worst for the team. You felt that, oh no, it's another one of this is going to be another one of those matches where we can't wait for the final whistle. Just end the match there and then. We'll just take the 3-0 loss. It's more like a damage limitation for the team to save
yeah,
us the embarrassment of a heavy defeat. But to Big Angel's credit, and also to the credit to the lads, they came out in the second half. They gave a good account of themselves. We managed to
yeah,
get a lucky goal from David Raya mistake, which
yeah.
Romero
Thank you, David
happily
Raya.
mopped up, and that penalty, I felt that penalty is probably one of the strangest penalties that I've seen not given by any official on the pitch, because Michael Oliver was standing right in front of
I
Ben
know,
Davies when that happened. How can you
I know.
not see that Ben Davies had been kicked in the
Yeah,
groin
he had to
when
go
it's
to the monitor.
not more than 3 or 4 yards away from
That's
you?
what I'm saying,
And
Chang. He
and
wasn't
even
paying
e-
attention.
no, no. If you're not paying attention, that's fine. But then, when the VAR or when the fourth official has then indicated to Michael Oliver to then go to the monitor, and he then refused, or rather, he rejected the initial proposal to review the incident on the monitor. Why would any official not accept the proposal, or rather the instruction to go and review the replay on the monitor? Is beyond me. The
I
moment
know.
that you are being called to the monitor tells me that you have just missed something clear and obvious. You've missed
Yeah,
something clear and obvious, and yet you sort of like deny any wrongdoing, or you don't even what do you call this? Uh you don't acknowledge your mistake. You don't acknowledge that you might
yeah.
have missed something. That for me is actually very telling. I don't know. I'm not going to go into any conspiracy theories. I'm not going to go into
No.
any sort of
But you're
shady,
calling it out without any conspiracy
yeah.
theory. Yeah,
But I think
I
I find
agree
it
with
very
you.
strange.
Yeah, it's very strange. And also the Kulusevski one, they said it's minimal contact, and then they went to what's his name? Dermot, the referee that's an ex-referee, Dermot something his name is. I can't remember his surname, but he reviewed it as well when they showed him it, and he said it was the right decision. And I was swearing at the television. I was swearing at him. I was calling him all sorts of names after the event, but because when it actually happened in real time, if all the Spurs fans, obviously, we're going to go penalty, and then you see we don't see the review, do we? Right, but you can get
You
it up on your phone. You can get it up on your phone and look at it in slow mo, right? And if they say that's minimal contact, he actually put um Kulusevski on the floor, and he lost his footing, and he would have been able to get a shot in. So you've got to take this in consideration. He didn't mean it, Trossard, because he cut across him, but he still fouled him, right? Unintentionally, admittedly, unintentionally. But I keep on doing that, so I really apologise. I stop doing it, right? But Yeah, but Chang, let me just finish, yeah? Right. Even if it was minimal contact, right, and he didn't mean it, he still put Kulusevski on the floor and put him off having a shooting
Yep.
opportunity or laying it off to somebody for us to score. So he prevented a goal scoring opportunity because he was right in the middle of the goal and he had the perfect position to shoot at the goal. And Kulusevski, he's got quite a good shot, right? He's not, obviously he hasn't got like a Harry Kane shot, but he would have had a chance or to lay it off to a player, yeah, for them to have a better shot at goal, right? So the VAR has to take these things into consideration, in my opinion, right? And also, then they showed the Ben Davies incident that you were alluding to, right? So he's
Yep.
kicked, Declan Rice has kicked him in the groin really hard, missed the ball completely. And they have to send it to VAR. You having a laugh? The referee, what was you doing? Was you, as my mum would say, was you scratching your underneaths? Not looking. Look at the bloody game, the referee. That's your job. Your only job is to look at the game and make rational decisions. Yeah? I don't get Michael Oliver. What was you looking at? And you have to go to the bloody monitor.
You mentioned that he wasn't looking at the game, but if you were to look at the VAR video review, when the VAR video review was being played in slow motion, you could very clearly see that Michael Oliver was was focused. He was looking directly at the incident as it happened in front of him.
Yeah,
So
there's
to say that
looking
he
and there's
wasn't
looking, no, Chang. There's looking, right? I could be looking at you yet now, right? But I'm not listening to you or focusing on you or nothing. That's what I mean. You've got to look and actually see the whole incident. And then you could be blinded, right? Because remember, he's looking at it where Declan Rice is coming across to Ben Davies and kicked him in the leg, right? That's why I'm saying you're looking, but you're not looking. Right? That's how I see Michael Oliver. He doesn't pay attention to the actual incident, right? And then he gets VAR tell him to go to the volleyball, so that even they don't make a decision that it's a penalty. Yeah, I think he go to the monitor for that one. He did, didn't he? He went to the monitor. I can't remember exactly. I've watched it twice on telly and I still can't remember. I think he did go to the monitor, or did he go to the monitor only for Kulusevski's one? Or I don't think he went to the monitor for Kulusevski's one because the VAR said it's minimal contact. So they didn't send him to the monitor. They sent him to the monitor for Ben Davies's one. Didn't they? That's right, isn't it, Chang? Are you with me?
what I find most what I found very strange though was that even for the Kulusevski foul in a penalty box, in this season alone, opposition teams have actually been awarded penalties for fouls that were less than what was done to Kulusevski. And that I find, again, this goes back to what I said at the very beginning of the show, in which some of these decisions, the consistency, or rather the way in which these fouls are judged, there is no continuity or consistency to it, and
Where
this is
humans are
actually
involved,
coming back
Chang.
to
That's
hurt
right.
us in the back.
It's because where
Yeah,
humans
I
are
get that as
involved,
well.
Chang. There's humans involved, right? So it's up to them whether they think it was a foul, and they're applying their logic, right? So their logic is that Trossard didn't mean it. But whether you meant it or not, you put Kulusevski on the floor. So it's a penalty in my book. I don't care whether somebody means to do it or they accidentally do it, you still get the same result. Kulusevski's on the floor. Yeah, he's lost his balance because of it. So where they're not applying the letter of the law, because the letter of the law says, right, it says minimal contact, yes, right? But that minimal contact, whether it's intentional or not, right, they should look at what happened after. and he fell on the floor, so it would have been the same result. Yeah, like I come to kick you, right, intentionally. I want to stop you from scoring. What's the difference if you end up on the floor and you give a penalty? Then I didn't intend to do it, but you're still on the floor. You've still stopped me from scoring. You see what I mean? So it's open to.
I see what you
It's
mean.
open
Yes.
to human error, but apply the bloody letter to the law, Anyway, I just want to move on from that because it annoys me because, when you're talking about penalties, you can talk to your blue in the face. You're not changing the decision, right? Right. So now we've got, obviously,
By the way, Mr. Adrian Chia. By the way, Mr.
yeah,
Adrian Chia in the chat has a very interesting comments about Michael
yeah,
Oliver
I can see
in
it.
the
I
second
can
last
see it.
comments on the chat.
Right. Are you talking about this one? You're talking about that one?
It's the one by Mr. Adrian Chia from Singapore
Oh,
saying
that's
that Michael
Ben
Oliver
Kaufman.
was
All
focusing
right,
on his betting slips more than he was focusing on the game.
I'll come to it in a minute because there's other people in the chat and I want to sort of welcome a few people in the chat. David Shea, obviously, he said, Ben, we know you're Ange out, Cobber, right? Well, everybody's entitled to their opinion, yeah? Ben Kaufman said, absolutely not, but fans need to also stop saying Ange out. Like I said, everybody's entitled to their opinion. If they think Ange out, that's their opinion. If they don't, then do you know what? I think it will influence the board, right? If we all say Ange out, if the whole fan base start singing, we don't want Ange Postecoglou, Ange out, Ange out, Ange out, Ange out, they're going to buckle because this board, they've had a history of sacking managers, right? So I'll get Mia's point, but everybody's entitled to their opinion, yeah? So we've got to respect, if people want Ange out, we're never going to change their opinion. That's what they want. Me personally, no, we've got to continue on this project and let him have time to build his team and actually drill the players to play his system. And also the players have got to take responsibility, right? When you're out of position, break your arse to get back like Man City do. They play it more effectively and they've got better technicians, better footballers to play that style. But they do what we do. They play a high line, but they play it more effectively, Chang. You see, so we've got to take this. But the board are very fickle. They do listen to the fans. Right, Tel Cockerel, the like button needs caressing. Yes, it does. And now, who have we got in the house? Hello, Leo. Yes, I was with Leo yesterday having a nice curry. He had a nice bit of chicken, which he had some leftovers. So I'm sure you've eaten it. Come on, Leo. Look, I've taken my wedding rings off today because they were itching me. I don't know why they were itching me. Maybe they're not real gold. Maybe my husband bought me fake gold. You never know. Right. Ben Kaufman said, David Shea, I'm not Cobber. I just know the chairman has a short fuse and is influenced by others. That's what I just said. What do you think? Do you think, right, that we're going to follow suit and sack Ange? Because when I was at the match with Ben, he said, if we continue on this trajectory and we don't fix up and Ange don't change his ways and adapt to the Premiership, he's going to be gone by December. That's what Ben said. He's going to be gone by December. But we won't address that. We'll address this question. Do you think the board would be influenced by others?
I think that the board must have the board needs to be attuned to what the fans are feeling about the way the club is being run, about the way the team is playing the football on the pitch, and also how our recruitments go about signing and selling players. In terms of Big Ange and the football, if supposedly that by next season he brings in some more players that are supposed to be suited for his Ange ball, and he then also ships out a few more players which he deems to be deadwood. If after then we still don't see much of a change from, say, Conte ball or Mourinho ball or even a Pochettino ball, then the fans will be calling into question why did we even get Big Ange to begin with? When you look at the other candidate that we were supposedly going for, Arnie Sloth from Feyenoord, he's now been snapped up by Liverpool, and if he does manage to hit the ground running a whole season later after Big
Yeah,
Ange took over, and if he is getting the results for Liverpool and Big Ange isn't getting the results for us, then I can bet you that comparisons will then be made between Big Ange
yeah,
having a full season with us and three transfer windows after his signing, and Arnie Sloth, who is just going to join Liverpool next season and only one transfer window to work with in the summer. And if Sloth is getting the better results at Liverpool compared to Big Ange, then yes, the fans will have every right to start to question whether getting Big Ange was the right decision to begin with. Having overlooked Arne Sloth uh, from Feyenoord, and if results don't improve, which I hope they do for Big Angel's sake, then yes,
yeah,
his appointment will be called under question.
yeah. I agree, but the thing is, I don't think Ange will change I don't think he's stubborn. I just think he believes in what he believes. Stubborn is different. Stubborn means that you're a bit ignorant, and you don't want to change for anything. I think he does see things in game, right, that he sees something going wrong, and he obviously he wants the players to be in position, and because of their ill discipline, they're not, and it looks like we're a bit ragged a lot of the time. Yeah. What do you
Mr.
want to say?
Benjamin Kaufman has a very good
Especially-
Mr. Benjamin Kaufman has a very good message in the chat saying that he wants to see the team play a good 90 minutes of football. We
Yeah.
can barely string 10 minutes together. That is very,
Uh,
very well said, Mr. Benjamin Kaufman.
yeah, it's true, right? Obviously, I don't have to bring up that chat because you've covered it. Um, Listen, 90 minutes of play, not even the best teams play 90 minutes. I mean, it's very rare that a team dominates the whole match for 90 minutes. The closest you get is Man City and Liverpool because of their possession-based football. And then Arsenal have joined the mix, haven't they? They've started dominating games. But even them against us, I can't remember the stat, but listen, stats are stats, right? It doesn't matter whether you've had 60, 70, 80, 90, 100% of the possession, which is impossible because the opposition are going to have one touch at least when they kick the ball, right? It doesn't matter. It's what you do with the possession, yeah? How effective you are in possession, how you create goals, what you do with the ball. That's the most important thing. You can have 30% possession, right, and play pretty pants, but for that 30% that you were in charge, you've won the game. Yeah. So obviously, as a football purist, I want us to play nearer to the 95%. Yeah. But that's not a reality. A reality is that you normally have either 60 to 70% possession on a very good day. Yeah. But I would rather have it in two halves, like Ben's saying, play good in the first half and good in the second half, not pants in the first half and then pick up in the second half. But I think against Arsenal, I don't know about you, but I think we played better in the second half, obviously. But we held our own. It was just those details,
For sure,
mistakes
yes.
that we made. Yeah, we made two errors, giving two corners away. The first one was a calamity of errors, and the second one, he just put the ball in and he headed it in. Nobody challenged him, being strong. See, Ange can't cater for that. That's up to the players to take their own responsibility on the pitch. You see, they have to take responsibility, but they didn't. They messed up, and we got punished twice. And then the other one, we lost the ball, and then it came over the top. the best player at going in the goal, apart from Sonny, when it's over the top, you've got Saka. So an intelligent footballer, he knows that Ben Davies is not that fast, right? But Ben Davies, he's got effort, right? He's not a lazy player. He ran, he caught up, and then he should have taken him the other side. Yeah? Should have taken him away from goal, but he showed him inside, and then the rest is history. He scored. And we're 3-0 down with our pants hanging down our ankles. You know, they basically caught us napping, didn't they? 3 occasions. But that's football for you. It can be very cruel sometimes, football. And in the Premiership, it's the cruelest. You could have got away with it maybe in the Championship, but these are top footballers who are going to punish you. One error and you could lose the game 1-0. And you could have played fantastic for 95% of that game. And you make one error and you lose, and you think, how did we bloody lose that game? Because I've been to many Spurs games where we dominated even, but we still lost the game. Yeah? Even in the Champions League final change, do you remember? We had 63% possession. They got the early goal through that stupid handball, which wasn't, right? And then they revert to a different game plan. They sit back and let us attack them and then hit us on the break because they know they can do it. Liverpool have got minerals. They've got players who zip it about the pitch and they can hurt you. If we're playing a team like Bournemouth, not that they would ever get, well, maybe they'll get to the Champions League final. I'm not saying they will. But if they did and we were playing Bournemouth, we win that game. On those fine details, if we had 63% possession against Bournemouth and we did what we did, we would have scored at least one goal. Yeah, I think we beat Bournemouth, but Liverpool have got more technical players and they will hurt you. Yeah, and if we were when we played Man City in the League Cup final, they dominated possession. But remember Lucas Moura, he got through there, he broke lines and he was fouled twice. One time, I think Ruben Diaz pulled his shirt and pulled him down when he was going to be clean through because they were playing the high line. He would have got clean through. And you know, Lucas Moura, when he goes in on goal, he didn't always score, but he would have had the chance to score. But we lost that game. They were better than us. We must hold our hands up. Man City were better than us. And Mason made a few errors here and there. He brought off Moura anyway. So let's get back on track anyway. So we've got Mia saying, Leo, Shemtan. Welcome, Shemtan. Good morning, Queen Elly, Højbjerg, Benton Corverna, and the youngest looking old man, Mr. Chang. Hope you're both well. Thank you very much, Shemtan. We're both very wonderful. Thank you. Julia saying, big up, Leo. Yeah, big up, Leo. Come on. There will be no Levy slander while I'm here. You know, you saw the video of Leo with Mr. Levy at the Grand. Oh, my
Yes,
God.
I did. I saw that video. Yes, I did.
I mean, it's comedy gold in a way as well. Because like he goes to Levy, he's big up my whole Hotspur. He goes, subscribe to me. And then he looks back at Leo. Oh my God, so funny. Have we got any more questions? Let me go back here. No. You said about Ben, right? Let me go a little
Queen
bit.
Elly, sorry, Queen Elly, can you please carry on without me for a good 60 seconds? I'm going to try to switch over to a different alternative internet because this existing one is starting to lag very heavily.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I'm going to reconnect in 60 seconds. Give me a quick second.
Don't worry, I'll cover the chat. Right, David Shee, I'm not a cover, I just noted. Right, yeah, we've done that one. Shemtan, yeah, done that one. Right, because I lose my bearings when I go off one. Right, and then big up Leo. That's it. That's the end of that. Right, now, who else has joined us? We've got Mia, Ben Kaufman. Yeah, here we go. Mia saying, Ben Kaufman, when the fans can't... Sorry, Ben Kaufman, well, then fans can't then moan if managers get sacked. Makes zero sense, honestly. Yeah, I agree with you, Mia, right? Because you get what you wish for. Right, and if the ball buckle and they sack him, then we're going to have to start another project. I mean, how many projects do we want to start? The players are getting confused. 1 minute they're playing bloody defensive, then they're playing attacking. But these are new players, remember. They're not the old team. We've got a lot of new players that are still learning Angie's system to this day, right? But it's just about discipline. Like remote control, get into position, Porro, get into position, Basuma, bust your gut. It's desire as well. Yeah, desire. You can teach people systems, right? But if you haven't got the desire to be in your shape and revert back to like defending mode when you're out of possession, then you get caught out, and then poor Van de Ven will pull a hamstring because he's bloody overworked. Yeah, so let me just see what. Just one more second. Look at bad and okay. Right, okay, sorry. I was just reading something from Chang there about his internet. All right, so yeah, what I was talking about is, yeah, it's all about desire football as well. It's not just obviously discipline, getting back into shape, but you've got to have the desire to make that tackle when you're back into shape. You've got to have the desire and the willingness to help your teammate. Yeah, it's all part and parcel of being a fantastic footballer and making a fantastic team rather than a team that nearly done it, than a team that done it. It's fine margins, right? I'm not saying we're as good as Man City technically, but if we get more technical players with the desire to bust their gut, to get back and get into shape when we've lost the ball, because this high risk, high reward football, it pays dividends. We've seen it when we've won matches that we shouldn't have won because they're pushing up, especially Richarlison, because he's very good at pressing. Udogie, very good at pressing, right? But when you've pressed and then they've won the ball, Udogie, bust your gut to get back. And I'm not saying he's done it on all occasions, but the times that he hasn't run back, we've been caught wanting and they've scored, you know, and you can lose the game like that. Yeah. And also the front three, Werner, I'm not going to call him out completely, but the goal prowess, I don't think he's got much goal prowess, to tell you the truth, in the Premiership. Maybe he's done it in Leipzig. Yeah. But when it comes to the Premiership, you know, he's not making the right choices and he's costing us goals. He could have scored a lot more goals. And like people throw at me, oh, yeah, well, Haaland's missed a lot of chances, but he scored 19 or 20 goals. Yeah, that's the difference. Yeah, I know Werner started in January and he was behind Haaland, but can you see Werner competing with Haaland? I don't. On goal tally, I can't see him because the goal prowess, standing behind your marker and not getting in front of your marker to score a tap in, or not going to the far post, losing your marker and going to the far post and then getting your body in the right shape to score a goal. Anticipation is part of football. Yeah, you've got to anticipate what the man is going to do that's crossing it, but you can dictate to him, right? Like, and you can point, look, I'm going to the far post, swing it over, I'm going to score, right? Be confident. If you miss, you miss, right? But make that run in front of your marker as well to score a goal, right? All these fine margins can win you matches, yeah? Okay, let's get back to the chat because I've waffled on. Right, so we've got Julia saying, big up, Prince Lee, Miss Smithy Smith. Right, it's Lee Smithy Smith come in and I've missed him. Hold on, because I've got a bit of a sore throat. And then let me have a look. Where are you, Lee Smithy Smith? I didn't see you in the chat. Right. Oh, God. I hate moving up and down with his bloody cursor as well. There we go. We've got, right, a few more people have come in. Hold on a minute. Let me come on. That's it. This bloody computer's rubbish. Right, so we've got Steve D. Yeah. Hello, Steve. Lovely to see you. You're such a lovely gentleman and always give good comments, brilliant comments. I'm not on board with Celtic comparisons. I moved to Scotland several years ago and it's woeful. Rangers and Celtic don't need to defend. Average player is 1M. And all the way, but it needs addressed. It needs addressed. Right. Do you mean that he needs to change his tactics and tweak Steve, I presume by that. Because I don't think he's going to change just because he's in the Premiership, because he believes in his system. It's just the players are not doing what he's telling them to do. So he has to really work on the players to... So you can't teach desire. You can sort of say to them, look, you can yolla all you want. You can shout at them, get back, get back, get back. But if the player does it time after time, then you've got to drop them to the bench or just sell them and get a player that is going to bust his gut for his teammates and the manager. You know, I'm not going to name any names, but there's quite a few in our team that have been dropped to the bench and other players have got their chance. Why do you think Højbjerg got his chance? It's obvious, isn't it? He wouldn't be getting a look in if the other players were playing up to what Ange wanted from them. Because obviously Højbjerg's feeling the splinters on his bum most of the time, isn't he? Because he's not as good technically as the other players that get the call to be in the first 11. Yeah. At the end of the day, right, he's seen a weakness, so he's giving Højbjerg and Bentancur the call over Bissouma and Sarr. Right, Sarr, I'm not going to dig out because he's been fabulous for us, right? And he'll always bust his gut to get back in or out of possession, right? He always makes himself available, right? Sometimes his passing might be a little bit off, but that will come with age, you know. And remember, you're moving the ball really quickly, 1-2s up the pitch, get the ball up the pitch, you know. But do you know what I think, right? I think we overplay a lot of the time. What I've seen, I think we just make one touch too many and we're not shooting enough. Like before, even like everybody can criticise Antonio Conte, right? But we scored a lot of worldy goals under Antonio Conte, especially from Sonny and Kane. All right, we haven't got Kane now, so we have to move on from that. That's not happening. So we've got Sonny, and even him, right, he's playing on the left, but even him could cut because he can go left pin, right pin, Sonny. It doesn't matter to him. He can score goals from all angles, from 6 yards out, from 10 yards out. But the ones that stick in my memory are the long ones from 18 to 20 yards to 25 yarders, even 28, 30 yarders he scored. You know, worldy goals. And we're not doing it. And we're just faffing about. I said to the man next to me, why are we bloody faffing? Get the ball in. And when the ball did come in, invariably it went to bloody David Raya, and I was so frustrated. I thought, can't you pick out your player, right? Or the player who you're passing to, make an indication with your hand, especially with corners, long or short. They give an indication. But when you're running down the wing, you've got a split second where you lose your defender, and then you've got to pick out a player. He goes straight to the goalie 90% of the time in this match. That's not good. I mean, I was so frustrated. That's why I got a bloody sore throat. I was screaming so much. Here comes Chang. He's come back. Yes, come on, Chang. I hope his internet's fixed. Sorry. No, we've got Leo saying, I'm on the Elizabeth line to Heathrow. Safe journey home, Leo. I mean, it's magic that you came. It was brilliant at Ben's coffee shop yesterday, and the day before that we were together as well on the stream, and they were doing brewing bollocks yesterday with Coover and Bobby, and those two, when you get them together, bloody hell, it's like it's comedy gold. Just put it that way, right? And then we've got David Shear saying, "What happened to let's give him time?" Absolutely over Ange being blamed for others' mistakes this year. You see, the manager can do certain much, right? You got Ange's game plan is very simple. High press mid block, right? Make sure the ball don't come anywhere near our back four, right? Prevent it. High risk, high reward, right? And you get a lot of wins like that. Where you don't get all the wins, the other team are probably more technical than the lesser teams, because I heard somebody say that, you know, we perform better against the lower teams. We get more points, right? But you can get the points against the better teams as well if you stay disciplined. The high risk, high reward it's very good because you can get 2-3-0, 4-0 up sometimes, you know, like when we beat Newcastle 4-1. That was a fabulous performance. I would say that was our best performance of the season in my book. How about you, Chan? What do you think?
I feel that this high risk football that Big Ange is playing with his Ange ball, the return or rather the yield from it is being outweighed or it's being overshadowed by the number of bad results, the number of goals that we're conceding from this high risk sort of football. Because if you look at the results this season, the only game that you could say that we really benefited from this sort of football was the
Mm,
Newcastle home game. But the number of times we've lost and lost very needlessly too at that, whether it's Fulham away, Newcastle away, or even Wolverhampton Wanderers home and away. Basically, what Big Ange is doing is good, maybe only in certain games, but more often than not, he's being found out, especially
I
when we
don't
play
agree,
with.
Chan. I don't agree. I'll
Okay,
tell you why.
all right,
Right? If you
okay, go ahead.
listen to what I said, right? I said the players are at fault. Ange gives them a system to play, and they're not playing it to the way he wants. That's why he said he needs a remote control because he needs to put them back in position. So, right, high risk, high reward, right? You've got two things, right? These are the two players that are supposed to stay back, right? So you always have two at the back, but invariably it's only Van der Ven, right? So you already left yourself short. And then Porro, he's the third one, and Udogie is the fourth one, right? So you've got four players, right? If three of them are out of position, you're exposed, aren't you? So you've got one at the back. This is where the system's breaking down. That's not Angie's fault. It's the player's fault. That's why he said, I need a remote control to put them back in position. So the system is good and it would yield more wins, but the players are not doing it to how Ange wants it. That's why he said it's a work in progress. He's trying to get them disciplined. Then you've got the desire. You've got to put the desire in. So when Van der Ven's at the back on his own, right? I know I'm using candlesticks, but this is Van der Ven, right? So he's exposed because the other three idiots, they're out of position and then they don't have the guile to run back. You see, Man City, they all run back and help, right? They've got the desire and that's why they're champions. That's why they win. Not only because they're technical skill, because they've got the desire to get back and help they help normally Ruben Diaz or their fastest player, Ake, right? They help him. What they do, they revert to position when they're out of possession. That's what I'm trying to get through to people because I was a coach, right? So I know a little bit more. Not than you. I don't know more than you, Chang. I'm just saying. Some people they don't see what I see, right? So and the desire in football and the willingness to go and help your teammate is very, very important when you're out of possession. Yeah, because you've got to get back into your shape, and we're fan wanting so many times, right? And that Ange don't want that to happen. He wants them to bust their gut and help him, but they're not. And then we concede goals, Chang, and we lose matches that we shouldn't have lost. Do you see where I'm getting at?
Yes, I see what you're getting at. But
Yeah,
okay, this there is this one argument which I do have though, with this narrative that it is the player's fault more so than Big Angel's fault. If let's say for discussion, okay,
yeah.
for uh just put it this way: if let's say I am Big Ange and I know that my system works, but I don't have the kind of players who would necessarily follow my instructions to the letter or to the T, and these players are then not only are they messing up my system, they're actually doing more harm than good when they're trying to
Mm,
implement my system. Would I then be still very stubborn and very, very thick skinned in thinking that I can just keep on with this system, this way of this mentality without really changing it up, so that not only do we not concede or leak too many goals from their mistakes, but at the same time maybe bring some stability, or maybe bring something to the pitch that these players know how to play. Because if I were
Mm.
to if I were to put this in a non-footballing sense, if let's say this was an army, if Spurs was an army
Mm.
and Big Ange is the general, if let's say he has this tactic to win battles, but this tactic requires the soldiers, our players, to be able to follow his instructions to the letter, and he finds that these players of his, they aren't able to carry out his instructions, and they're actually costing him they're costing him lives, or they're costing him the battle. Would he then insist on continuing on this course of action, or would he then have to fall back to something that is more fail safe and safer to play with? That, I think, is the big thing that a lot of
Mm.
fans have with Big
I
Ange,
get
and
your
how
point.
he's not able to adapt, how he's not able to
Yeah.
say, just shut up shop, just sit back, soak up the pressure, don't play too far up high, and don't leave yourself exposed more often than not. And maybe try to do what Conte and Mourinho would have done in the past, which is to try to hurt the opposition by playing counter-attacking football. Because I don't know how you felt about Sunday's game, but for me, we actually had less to lose than Arsenal in that game. Meaning to say that
Mm.
Arsenal had more to gain from winning that game than we did.
Of
And
course.
if that
Yeah.
was the case, why didn't Big Ange just park the bus against Arsenal on Sunday, set up three
Yeah.
at the back or however many you want at the back, try and hit them on the counter, because we still have the likes of Son Heung-min, Werner, and Johnson, who can run at them and really do some damage when we have the players who can run. Why don't we just let them play into our own hands, and then see what they will react when we go ahead? I felt that that was what should have been done, but we can't cry over spilled milk now that we've really lost the game.
Yeah.
Tonight itself, tonight away at Stamford Bridge, I hope that we can do something different than what we tried in the past, whether it's
Yeah.
against Newcastle away, Fulham away, or even against Arsenal at home. Because to actually lose 3 games on the bounce, Newcastle, Arsenal, and then against Chelsea, this might
Mm.
be more
Yeah.
damaging to Big Ange's short-term plans ahead of next season, even before we find out where we end the season with. I feel anyway. That's how I feel anyway, because we don't have Ben Davis, we don't have Udogi, neither do we
I'm
have.
glad we haven't got Ben Davis. I'm glad. He's
But
not my cup of tea, just put it that way. He's never been my
but
cup
now
of
that
tea as a
yes,
player.
but now that he has been ruled out, now that he has officially been ruled out for
Yeah.
the rest of the season, would Big Ange still insist on having a left back for tonight's
Right.
game, or will he go back to a
Let's
back
see
three?
let's see what
That is what
happens.
is a lot on a lot of our minds right now.
Yeah, let's see what happens. But I want to counter attack, not counter attack, counter claim on your what you've just said, right? Right. So Ange wants to stick to his system, right? So what he's doing, right? He's realizing that some of those players are not going to cut the mustard, right? So what he's doing is a learning curve for him. So I think he was willing to let this system, this season go and see how high he can finish. Obviously, he wanted to finish first. He didn't want to finish fifth. But if he tweaks his system, then he's going against what he believes in as a football man. See, when you believe in the system, like Spurs when they had the push and run side, they believed in it and it worked. It didn't work straight away, right? Because we didn't always win the league. But when we did win the league in 50-51, we had the push and run. And when we won it in 60-61, we went back to our roots. Bill Nicholson, right? So you learn from your past, right? Bill Nicholson was in the 50-51 side that won the league championship, push and run, 60-61, push and run, push and move into space, push and... So Ange believes in his system, right? but he doesn't believe in his players because that's why he said the remote control. So what he's doing, he's giving them a chance to see if they're going to cut the mustard in his team. And that's why he's not tweaking the system that he really does believe in. And he doesn't care what league he's playing in. He believes that this will work in the Premiership. Now, the proof in the pudding is when he gets these players that he believes will have the desire and the minerals to work his system more efficiently than the current lot, because he's going to cut a lot of them. We're going to be very shocked, because Ange is a very ruthless manager, right? He knows which ones are going to be good. So he's looking, and that's why he's not shouting, right, and getting animated, because he's taking it all in, right? And he's like a master of the appraisal, right? And he's looking, he's thinking, right, Basuma, I might keep him. I'm going to give him a chance, right? But if he's not busting his gut for me, regardless of how many minerals he's got and that he works in my system, because you're not working for me, you're out, mate. Right? So Basuma's gone. I'm not saying he's going to get rid of him. I'm just saying there's a possibility that he might think Basuma's a weak link because he's not busting his gut to get back for him, right? And he's dropped off significantly. Everybody's saying it, not just me. It's not just my ideology. And then he's looking at Porro. Will Porro cut the mustard? Is he getting back into position enough? He might think, yeah, I'll keep little Porro. He's a hard-working player. He's looking at Sarr, right? I'm not saying that he's got the same opinion as me, what I'm saying now, but I'm thinking this is how he's thinking. He's looking at Sarr, he's going, very good player. He's working hard for me. He's working hard for the team. He's working hard for the fans. He's a good asset to have at the club. He's running his socks off. He deserves a place in my ultimate team that I'm building. Because remember, we're at the start of our project. Why would we get rid of Ange at the start of his project, right? And then he's looking at other players. Van der Ven goes without saying. He's going to be there, right? If he gets rid of Van der Ven, it's only because Real Madrid have come in for him and snapped him off us, Jan. And then there's other players. I won't go through the whole team because we'll be here all day. But you know what I mean? He's looking and he's seeing who's working for him as well. Like, you know, when you're running an office as an office manager, right, you've got your slackers, haven't you? But they've got the minerals to do it, but they don't want to do it. So you have to give them a little word in their ear. You call them in your office and you say, look, you're mentoring them. You say, look, you're a really brilliant player. Just go out on that pitch or go out on that sales floor and show them what you can do. Yeah, that's man management, isn't it? You know the player or the man who's selling or the woman who's selling is fantastic at their job, but they're just not pulling their weight. So that's where the man management, and he's very good at that, right? So he's giving Basuma a chance. Obviously, Sarr's working for him, so he will give Sarr more of a chance than Højbjerg or Bentancur, because Bentancur's still carrying the ACL injury, and we rushed him back because we had to. So all these factors are going to go into the final, not the final end product of what Ange wants to see. Do you think he wants to see this football where we're losing 8 or 9 games a season? He wants to compete. So he's going to buy players who he feels that fit the profile. They're hardworking, they've got the minerals, and they're willing to bust their gut, and they have the desire. That's what Pep looks for. He's looking for technical players, but players also that will work in the team, in the system, and will bust their gut and run everywhere and really have that desire in their heart to be league champions. Yeah, and look, the proof is in the pudding. Pep, the first year, he didn't win anything, did he? Yeah, Ange won many awards early on, didn't he? The first 10 games, he'd broken a Premiership record, right? So let's stick with him, see his project, and then if his project fails at the end of whatever years, like Arteta's has. If he doesn't win the league this year, let's see if they stick with him. They might chop him, right? And then we judge him. But he's not going to change for anybody. He's not. That's what I'm not defending him. I'm just saying what he's like. He believes in what he believes. Yeah. Now Mia's saying, if in my hypothetical reality we lose 5 in a row, there'll be a lot more of those voices. I would imagine so. Yeah, because we're very fickle fans. You've got to see the bigger picture. What I've just said, Chan? What do you think of what I've just said? Are you going to pick at my argument, or have you got anything to say that I'm wrong, or do you think some of it's right and some of it's not so right?
So you were mentioning something about having the kind of players that would fit his system, that would be able to execute his edge ball and score the goals that he requires for us to win games and to also be able to mop up defensively to avoid conceding so that we win those games. I have something to ponder over our
Yeah.
defense first and foremost, because if we look at the defense, assuming that back four, the back four of Udogi, Van der Ven, Romero, and Porro, if these are the four defensive players that Big Ange has to rely upon next season, beyond this season,
Mm.
do you think that we are still going to concede the same type of goals, the same amount of goals as we have had this season compared to next season? Or do you think maybe we will be more defensively solid now that the players know what to expect of it? Because the way I see it,
Um,
and this is based purely on what I'm seeing on the pitch in the last couple of games, the way I see it, until he gets maybe a better defensive midfielder or even a better midfield pairing, the sort of a midfield pairing that would be able to work as our first line of defense before our actual defensive players are then being called into action to mop up whenever teams try to hit the long ball or even try to hit us on a counter. Until we actually get the kind of players we need in midfield, our defense is still going to be conceding, because just look at the recent North London derby. There is not a single goal that we've conceded on Sunday that we've not already conceded in the other previous matches this season alone. Because
yeah,
if it's not corners or set pieces or one long ball over the top, and our defense just goes missing when dealing with one-on-one
mm,
situations at the back when we are pushed so high up, I'm actually fearing for more of the same come next season if we are not going to improve on the back four, or if you're not going to get any more midfielders. I do hope that we find a proper replacement for Højbjerg or even for Oliver Skip and
mm,
maybe even Bissouma if Big Ange doesn't fancy any of them. My point is, if the players that we have this season, the majority of them in midfield and defense, if these are the sort of players that we are going to have to rely upon next season, what is there to say that we won't still be conceding the same sort of needless and careless goals as we have this season in next season? You could
yeah,
argue that maybe having a better forward line, having better strikers, having better forward players would then try to counteract or try
yeah. You like
to
score the opposition.
outscore our defensive frailties next season. And I feel that this season, more so than any other season, this coming summer transfer window would be a very, very big transfer window for us, not only for Daniel Levy and Enoch, but for the club as well as the overall. Because if we
Yeah,
can't get the players that we want in this season, I can only see the likes of Aston Villa, Newcastle, maybe even Chelsea and Manchester United pulling away and ahead of
mm,
us, to say nothing of the likes of City, Chelsea, Aston Villa, and Liverpool, who are already ahead of us. So I will still believe in the project. I will still give Big Ange however much time he needs to get his players in and to get rid of all the other unwanted players that were in before his time. But something needs to improve with his tactics. Something needs to change with his way of
He
adapting
won't change
and being
though.
able to cope with
He's
what's
not
going
going
on
to
pitch.
change.
Yeah,
He's not going to
that.
change.
How
He'll
about this?
change his
Let's just see what.
personnel. He'll change his personnel, Chang, but he's not going to change his system. He said it. This is how I play. If you don't like it, lump it. Right now, when we're going to see the fruits of Ange's labour, right, is when he puts the hard work on the training ground. So when all the new players come in that he's identified with his scouting men in Langer. That's his name, Langer, isn't it?
Johan Lang.
Right.
Yep.
And the other scouts that work underneath him, and they're checking running stats, they're checking the desire of a player to get back. Because you can run, but if you haven't got the technical ability, right, to make a tackle as well, so you have to have tackling skills. There's so many factors that make up a good footballer, a good all-round footballer, you know, and then the elite footballers, right? We know we're not going to get elite at Spurs because we've got to start winning things. If you start winning things, look what happened with Man City. They started winning things. Who were the elite players going to? They're going to Manchester City. They're not coming to Spurs. They're not even going to Liverpool, the elite of the elite. Yeah? Or they're going to Real Madrid because they're going to get first dibs. They're going to get first dibs on those players, Chang. Right? But Chang, Ange Postecoglou is not going to change. He will not change. He believes in what he believes, and it's served him brilliantly everywhere he's gone. And the people that say it won't serve him well in the Premiership, give him time, right? Give him time, and you'll see that the fruits of his labour, the fruits of his beliefs, right? They will come to fruition. Because, like, Klopp didn't win anything for 4 years until we instilled what he wanted to instill. And it only took a couple of tweaks here and there with players. He brought in Van Dijk and he brought in Alisson, the goalie. Two players that made a big difference. And then they beat us in the I think they won the League Cup and then they beat us in the Champions League or the other way round. No, they won the League Cup and then they won the Champions League the next season, didn't they? Then they won the league. They beat Man City. They're the only team that have challenged Man City in the last 6 or 7 years. And then prior to that, Leicester won it, didn't they? When we lost it in 2015, 2016 to Leicester, and we finished third in a 2-horse race. But that's another story, right? But you can see Ange really does believe in his footballing philosophy, and he will not change. He will not tweak. He likes what he can see the errors, and he's making the cuts, and you're going to see quite a few cuts. Now, you said if we keep the same back four, what makes Ange feel that he's going to get a different result? What will get a different result is if we defend with better players in midfield and better players up front, and the desire you instill the desire into those players, right, to bust their gut, to help their teammate, right, and being more disciplined in the system. If you're more disciplined in Ange's system, it will look a lot better because it will be his system. At the moment, we're not seeing Ange ball. That's nowhere near Ange. He's even said it in interviews. He's even said that I'm not here to finish 4th or 5th. He wants first. He doesn't want third, second, third, fourth, fifth. He wants first. So he wants to build a team, right, that can get first. Do you think he just wants to make Champions League every season? That's not his ambition. His ambition is to go first, and he'll identify those players, right? And then we will look that team, the final team. You're going to see the big difference. You're going to see a big difference. They'll be so disciplined within his system, that you won't see massive gaps, even with the same 4 defenders. Yeah? So like you say, you get different results with different players. Look at Man City. Do you think they were brilliant first season? No, they weren't. They finished 8th, I think, the first season. Right? I think it was them. Or Arsenal finished 8th twice. Do you think that 8th team is as good as what Arteta's got now? No, because that's progress and coaching. And one thing we know about Ange, because he believes in his system, when he does his coaching, he's very diligent, right? And at the moment, players are letting him down. So he's looking at those players and he's thinking, all right, you might have the minerals, you might be able to play handball, but you ain't got the desire to run back and help your teammate. Yeah, and be in position when you're out of position, get back into position, be disciplined. Yeah, so he knows what he's doing, right? Give him time, because I think this manager, I think he's going to be our best manager since Bill Nicholson. And I touch wood, I believe in that wholeheartedly, right? Maybe people think I'm mad. They might call me out. They might say I'm stupid, but I'm sticking by it. As long as the board, like Alex Box Office says as well, he came in, he told you how he was going to play. If the board go and do the dirty on him and sack him because the fans are putting pressure on them and they buckle, then we're going to start on another project. And what have we learned? Nothing. Zilch. Yeah? Let's do what Arsenal are doing. It's been 5 seasons. This is his best chance, Arteta. If he doesn't get over the line, it's because Man City have been better. They've held their nerve. Yeah, not that they're... I think Arsenal have played just as good, if not better, football than Man City this season. And if they win it, they'll deserve it. Right? I won't like it because I don't like Arsenal. I don't want them to win anything. But I would hold my hands up and say, yeah, you were the best team. Yeah? And Ange Postecoglou, don't you think he wants that? Arteta's had 5 years. He's had 3/4 of the season so far. Just over 3/4 of the season. Yeah? Let him get next season. If it's still happening by the end of next season and he's brought all in new players, then he might. But you see a very big improvement in our results. And maybe we go a bit nearer. We go 2nd or 3rd. And then the next season we get even more progress and we win the league. That's what he wants. And don't we want all that? We want to win the FA Cup. We want to win the League Cup. We want to win the league. And we want to win the Champions League. The quad is on, as Cooper says, right? So we've got to be patient. Rome wasn't built in a day. David Shearer, alluded to it as well. What happens is let's give time. Absolutely, over Ange being blamed for others' mistakes this year. His players have let him down. They're not busting their gut to get back in his system. Yeah, and then poor Van der Ven's pulled a hamstring because of it, and we've lost the Chelsea game. Just like that. Udogie gets sent off and we're down to 9 men. And then what happened after that? The season started getting a little bit worse. We lost 2 of our best players, Van der Ven and Romero, to suspension. Udogie to suspension. That's the core of our team. Those 3 players, they're vital to Ange Ball because they're probably the 3 best pressers with Richarlison. Richarlison's fantastic at pressing. Maybe he's not the perfect footballer and he can't control it all the time when he's got his back to the goal. But you tell him to do some shithousery, get in the opposition's face and press them. Fantastic. I think I would say next to Udogie and Romero, he's just up there in terms of pressing and working hard for the team, right? And he gets digged out because obviously in front of goal, he scored 10 this season, hasn't he? So he hasn't done that badly, but he's not the perfect striker. You know, but is there a perfect striker out there? Yes, we sold him. Harry Kane, we sold him. And what he might not even win anything for Bayern Munich, but he's bloody well tried hard, doesn't he, to get them there? How many goals has he scored, Chang? 34? Is it 34 goals?
43. He scored
Or in
43
all
goals in 43
competitions? In
competitive
all
matches for them.
competitions. 43 goals. And if he ends up with zilch, how bad is that for Harry Kane? You know? I feel sorry for the boy if he doesn't win anything. So Ben's saying, if in my hypothetical reality, we've done that one, haven't we? Yeah. See, I'm going back. I've got to go down to the bottom now. Yeah, so I want to touch on the Chelsea game first of all, right? Because we haven't even mentioned the Chelsea game, really. So, Chelsea, how do you think Angie's going to line up?
Well, I would very much love to see a back three of Romero, Dragushin, and Van der Ven, but seeing as he won't be playing a back three anytime soon, I think we've got to assume that Emerson Royal is going to fill in at left back for Ben Davies.
Yeah, I would assume that.
Hopefully Pedro Porro is still fit to deputize at right back,
There's
and
no
the
noise
defense
that
is going to
he
be the
isn't.
defense.
There's no noise that Pedro Porro isn't fit. So
So
I've
we've
been
got to
looking
assume he is
today.
fit. Yeah, we have
Yeah,
to assume that he's so
yeah,
the back four is going to be looking like the back four is going to be Royale, Van der Ven, Romero, and Porro. The midfield now is the biggest point of contention
yeah.
for me.
I
We have
know.
to start with Bissouma and Pape Matasar.
Yeah,
Experimenting with Højbjerg and Bentancur in midfield again is just only going to lead to even more disaster. Seeing as how Chelsea are going to try and make up for their, I think it was, I think they lost heavily, right? They lost heavily to Arsenal last week in midweek, and they're going to put that to rights.
5-0.
They got a credible
Fantastic.
draw against Aston Villa in midweek, the 2-2 draw, and I think they will want to try and build on that to end their season on a high. For me right now, if Big Ange has any sense about him, he should try to play a low block in this game, try to hit him on the counter, which makes me believe that maybe, just maybe, he might use Lo Celso in his starting 11 compared to Madison. But I highly doubt it he's going to do that. I
He's
think
not
we're going
going
to
to do it.
just see more of a James Madison if he
100%.
is fit. What I think would be really surprising to see would be our front three, because I think this is the match that Richarlison needs to start. Kulusevski might get another start on right wing if he's filling up for it. If not, we might see
He
Brendan
played very
Johnson.
well.
And this is the one game that I would really like to see Son Heung-min not start at number 9. Son Heung-min has to play on the left. Now that
Mhm.
Werner is out, that leaves Richarlison up front and one of either Johnson or Kulusevski in right midfield or right wing. That
Yeah.
is going to be my starting 11.
Right. Do you know what I was thinking, right? Do you know when Johnson played on the left, right, against Arsenal? We done pretty good. He got in there and he nearly scored a goal. He scuffed his shot. With a better shot, he would have scored. I don't know. This is just go with it, right? Kulusevski, right, as a number 10, right? Drop Maddison. Let Kulu have that role. I would drop Maddison because he's right off the boil. Doesn't deserve a start in my book. Play Kulusevski in his role with Gio, right? And then play Sarr behind them, right? Then have Sonny on the left and Brennan Johnson on the right, so we can incorporate Brennan Johnson's speed, right? And you also get Kulu doing the inverted bit from these number 10 to help out Porro, because Johnson doesn't help out Porro like Kulu can, because he's more robust, Kulu. So he can play two roles, invert from the middle, but join the attack. Because I think Kulu's wasted as a winger, right? And he takes too many touches sometimes, and he can be very frustrating. But when he clicks as a winger and he gets it right, he gets it right. But we haven't seen it enough for him to warrant that position. But when he's played the number 10, he's always played a lot better. There's lots of a part of his game. And like, I knew that he played number 10 for Juventus before anyone else said it as well. I didn't have to be told that later on. But having said that, I'm not arrogant enough to think that he could play like a number 8 role even, and bring the ball for us, be the ball carrier, box midfielder, and let Gio play the number 10 higher up, right? Because I think Gio is a very technical player and he can hold the ball for us, pass it off quickly, because that's his game. He's very good at passing. And then we have Sarr behind them to do the mop up, right? You don't have to play too defensive because you want to win the game. Then if it's not working, then bring Gio on. I think Gio's got a little bit more fitness and more, because Bentancur's not quite there. Otherwise, I'm having Bentancur all day long, right? If he was totally fit, Bentancur's in my first 11. Yeah, no doubt about that. Højbjerg's feeling the splinters still on the bench. The heaviest. I've got a wood thing behind me here. He's feeling them because he's not. Even though I like Højbjerg and I try to defend him, all the rest of the midfielders, apart from Skip, I would say is better than him. Right? Technically, moving the ball quicker, they are. That goes without saying, right? So I would like to see that midfield, right? But with a twist, with Kulu helping out Porro as well, so inverting back, yeah. And the only other way it can play is if they play Basuma instead of Sarr. So play Basuma, but I just don't think he's got the discipline or the desire to help out at the back when we're out of possession. So I think Sarr would be best suited for that role. As long as he's 100% fit, put Sarr in over Basuma. Because what you lose from Basuma, you gain in Sarr. Especially with Chelsea, because they've got some top mineral midfielders who can hurt you, especially Cole Palmer, because he's hit his niche. So he's a very big danger man. And they've got Sterling, who's off form, but he always turns up against us. Always. Raheem Sterling. He'll always score a goal or do something really good, like Willian did against Fulham when we played Fulham, right? So then up the front three, I'd have Johnson on the right, Richie in the middle, Sonny on the left, right? Those three midfielders, Gio, Kulu, Sarr, and then have the back four, Emerson on the left, right? Porro on the right, Romero and Van der Ven. Yeah, I think that team wins. And if it's not working for some reason because Gio's being lazy and he's not tracking back or being in position, because he's the one I'm worried about, Gio. He's very lethargic. That's why maybe Bentancur might get the nod, because at least Bentancur, although he's not fully fit yet, and you can see it, right? You can see it the way he's playing. Maybe I'll take a risk with Bentancur and leave Gio on the bench, yeah, and play Bentancur, Kulu, Sarr. Perfect. You've got three hard-working players. Because one thing Kulu does, right, even when he's off form, he will give more than Basuma, right, and he will give more than Madders, because Madders is completely out of the picture. I'm being serious here. Madders doesn't deserve a start in my book. Yeah, and I know he can hurt on his day. He can hurt players, but he's just not doing it. So he doesn't deserve it. I always think reward. Yeah, reward the players that are doing it for you, Ange. Yeah, Madders is not doing it, so you're on the bench with Højbjerg. You can have a nice little conversation where you're going on holiday. You know. You see? So what do you think? Do you think that would work? Or do you think I'm totally deluded?
No, I think every single position you've named, or rather every single player that you've brought up, I believe can do a job. The one big contention has always been the midfield, the pairing, the center midfield pairing, and also who is Big Ange going to deploy in that attacking midfield role. I agree with you that James Maddison hasn't earned his call up in the starting 11 for tonight's game against Chelsea. Although then, if he is dropped, then it will actually send a very strong message out to the rest of the team, because we mustn't forget that James Madison is part of the leadership group for a reason. I
Yeah.
feel that James Madison was named in the leadership group so as to marshal that midfield, to try and get that midfield to gel around him,
Mm.
if he's the one who's going to be calling the shots in midfield. But if Big Ange is brave enough, then yes, I would definitely take a punt on Lo Celso, because I feel that he has more than earned a place in tonight's starting 11, simply based on his short little cameo on Sunday. I felt that he did a
Mm.
lot more in a few minutes he was
Yeah.
on compared to
Very
Madison before
impressive.
Madison was taken off. Yeah, and if Lo Celso still doesn't get ahead of Madison tonight against Chelsea, then I can't see Lo Celso staying on beyond
Yeah.
this season. And I feel that Lo Celso can still be a team player for us, although maybe not as a starter, but he does offer something different when he comes off the bench for us. And I would really
Mm.
love to see more of him next season if Big Ange still
Yeah.
fancies him this beyond this season. But yes, that's among all the 11, the starting 11 that we both named, or rather we both mentioned, I think
Mm.
Madison would be the one point of contention that would either win us or lose us the game tonight, which
Yeah.
is I'm expecting it to kick off in what, 6 hours from now. I think
6 hours. Come
I
on,
think
bring it
kickoff
on,
is in
Chelsea.
6 hours from now. So
Yeah.
do you have anything else to cover
Yeah.
beyond this, or
Yeah, I was going to add, right? We need as many level-headed players on that pitch as well, and we have quite a number of unlevel-headed players, right? And Lo Celso is one of them. That's why I was thinking Benson Core, right, over him to start, because I changed my mind. Because Lo Celso, he's got the minerals to change a game later on. Has he got the fitness? Has he got this? Has he got? He's a big shithouser as well. He really is. He's like Richie. If he's fouled or whatever, or somebody else is fouled in our team, he's the first one on the scene in the referee's grill, and you can get sent off. We don't need that. We need to be cool, calm, and collected in this game. And I think Bentancur provides that. See, I've got my candlestick. This is Bentancur. He's in, right? Next to him, behind him is Sarr. Next to him, Kulusevski to play Madison's role. Right, give him a chance, because whenever he's played that role, played brilliant. But I'm going to give him Madison's role with a twist. I'm going to say to Kulu, when we're out of possession, you help Porro, because Johnson's not strong enough. His physicality's not there. But when you pass the ball to Johnson and he's running, that pace, right, can create a goal for either Sonny running in or Richie. Right, put one on Richie's head, boom, goal. Put one in front of his feet, you're not sure. You're not sure what you're going to get, right? But he's better than Werner, yeah? So it's a blessing in disguise that Werner's gone. Blessing in disguise that Davis is gone, because we don't have to rely on these two weak players in my book. All right, Davis has been a great servant, and big up to the lad. Yeah, he's been with us, I don't know how many years, 50 years? It seems
close
like
to
50
a
years.
decade now? I think he's the longest
Yeah,
serving. He's the longest serving servant at the club
it's
since
10 or 11
2015,
years.
if memory serves me right.
Is it nearly 10 years, isn't it? Not maybe 9 or 10 years.
Yes,
Regardless,
he's coming to 10 years now.
he's one of those players. He's a bit like Marmite as well with the fan base. But most fans, they'll give him his dues. They'll say he's not bad. You get what you get with Davis. That's the attitude. But we want more than that. If you're going to win the league, you can't have Ben Davis in your defence. Not unless you've got 3 other world-class defenders next to him, which we haven't got. We've only
I
got,
wish we did. I really wish
yeah,
we do.
we've got one who's working his way to world class, and then we've got one on the borders. Because like our class Romero, he's won the World Cup already, but that doesn't make you world class. But he's got world class traits, and you've got Van der Ven, who's like a Rolls Royce. Yeah. They just need more help.
Lionel Messi seems to think that Romero is the best centre back in the world.
Yeah. And you know what? I love Romero. I will big him up to the cows come home because he is fantastic defender. It's just that those corners, I think he goes missing sometimes. He's doing the zonal mix marking now, but when we were doing zonal, right, I think he needs to take more responsibility and organise the defence and tell Vicario, sorry, mate, do an hand on him. Sorry, mate, I'm standing with you. Take responsibility, yeah? Because if that Ben White can get in Vicario's grill and cause mayhem, right, and then we concede the goal, all right, invariably it was a no goal. That's not good. It's not good enough. You're not going to win the league by doing these fine detail errors, yeah? Right. Other than that, I think what I've chosen up front, Johnson, Sonny, and Richie, you've got three different players, right? They have to play together though more for that system to work, and they've really got to work in training. That's Angie's job to get those three in tune. Yeah. But one thing you know, if Johnson's going to cross it, Richie will bust his gut to get to the ball.
Yep.
Yeah, and he'll make he's not inept as a striker. He will make a good run, like when he did. You know, when Porro fanned him against Newcastle, he made a fantastic run. The ball came over Porro, brilliant ball, probably the best ball we've played all season from Porro, and he just whacks it in the net, controls it, boom. Yeah, so he's got that in his game. So I know he's not the perfect striker, and I know Lee Smith is in the chat, and I will always defend Richarlison up to a point, but he has his weaknesses. We've just got to not play to those weaknesses. Like Sonny, he's got a weakness back to goal, right? That's not his game. His game is running on the ball, get it to the wing, and he's got a really good cross on him, because look how many assists he's got in his career. Fantastic. Yeah, so what do you think the score prediction is going to be? We'll put that out to the chat. What do you think we're going to do? We're going to lose? We're going to draw? We're going to win? What's going to happen? Are there going to be an immense sent-off?
I really do hope we win this game, but if we do win, I think it's going to be by the skin of our teeth. I predicted us to win this by 2-1. I can see us conceding early again because that's just how we set up. That's just how we play. Hopefully, we will be able to nip an equalizer by the hour mark and maybe even squeeze out a late winner in injury time. But I can't see us winning by a big margin, seeing as how we are without the likes of Udogi, Ben Davis, and also Timo Werner. I would really love to get one over Pochettino at Stamford Bridge. Make no mistake about it. We have not. Stamford Bridge has not been a happy hunting ground for Spurs in the league for the last few seasons. Let's not kid ourselves. So for us to even get a draw would be a credible result. But yeah, for me, I would love nothing more than to be able to just avenge our result, just avenge that 4-1 loss earlier this season with any sort of a win over at Stamford Bridge tonight in 6 hours' time.
Yeah. So you're taking a 1-0 then?
2-1, 2-1. I'm taking a 2-1 win.
Yeah, I said, but you're saying 2-1, but even a 1-0 would be satisfactory for you.
Yeah, whatever it takes for us to win, I couldn't care less.
Yeah, I get you. But you know what? I'm coming from a different angle, Chang. I want to batter them and batter them good. I think at least 4-1 to pay them back. Come on, Spurs. Just go there, play the match, not the occasion, right? Get on that pitch and really give it to them, but give it to them in a way that you're not going to get sent off. Make your tackles, make the right tackles, move the ball forward like we know we can, right? Because when we've played very well, it's very, very, very impressive, but we haven't played well for quite a number of games. I would say Arsenal was their best game out of the crop of the matches that we've played just in the last, say, 10 matches. I would say Arsenal was our standout match. Although we lost the match, I think we played very, very well in lots of parts of that match. Right, and I bloody got a sore throat from it as well. Most of it was shouting at Michael Oliver for making stupid mistakes. Anyway, let me get back to the chat because we've got Lee Smithy Smith saying, Drula, big up. I'm all good. Hope you are. I'll have to do it properly. Right, and then we got Lee Smithy Smith saying, Leo. Mile High Hotspur Leo saying, Cobber, thank you for your support, brother. What a great man Leo is, man. You know, like he came to England and like came to my house as well. We went out together a couple of times and like he's such a cool dude. And then he meets Daniel Levy, gets him to say subscribe to Mile High Hotspur. Bloody hell, it's such a good feeling. Although I don't really like Daniel Levy, I don't think he's done particularly good for our club in terms of the football side of things, right? I can appreciate what he's done on the other side, but I want to win trophies. That's what we're in it to win it. We're not here to make the numbers. At least win 3 or 4 cups every 10 years. That'll do me. But if we win 10 cups every 10 years, that's even better. Let's see what our future holds. If we carry on the trajectory that Levy interferes, you know, and puts these £5 worth in, I don't think what's going to change, you know. You can change manager, but if he's there, I'm not going to go on too much about Levy because I'll get wound up by it. So Ben Kaufman saying zonal marking needs to be binned and Ange needs to get a defensive set piece coach in now. So what are you saying, Ben? You saying we should go man marking like a traditional football team? Man mark, take your man, that's your man, you've got him. If you lose him, it's your fault. Yeah? And work as a team, as set pieces as well. You know, because you could lose your man, but then another player can see that you've lost your man, moves from his marks man because he's not going to score and help. You see? So everything helps. Right, Steve D saying, Elly, when you talk about Højbjerg, you sound like Anne's talking about our set pieces. Move along, nothing to see here. Do you know what? Højbjerg gets such stick, and I don't think he deserves half of it. He deserves some of it, don't get me wrong, because, like, you know, he's not the sort of technical player to play in that Ange system, and I admit that. But what he does good, he's a good passer of the ball. Yeah, when he's asked to pass quickly, he does make mistakes. But doesn't all our players? Can you see any of our players passing particularly well? No. They're not like Man City passers, are they? Or Liverpool. Right. The Mile High Hotspur, Leo saying, Smithy, my homie, stay safe, bro. Yeah, of course, stay safe. Keep away from the MILFs. Good morning, Elly and Chang from Colin Blackshaw. Nice to see you, Colin. There's a lovely picture of you as well. You look a bit like the Irish Hotspur there, a bit. Right, David Shear saying, horse has bolted, Ben, mate. Right, Ben saying, David Shear, always time to change. If it's a project, you can mould as you go. The thing is, that's what I'm saying, Ben. He's not going to change his system, is he? You can call him stubborn, you can call him an idiot, whatever you want to call him. He's not going to change it. I'm sticking to my system, mate. I'll get my players in, and then we can judge him when he's got his final lot of players like Arteta's got. Let's see if he delivers the league. Yeah, Chang saying, good morning, Mr. Blackshaw, sir. Well done, Chang. Good man. Lee Smithy Smith, have a safe journey home, homie. Big love always. Big lover. You know what? I love Leo. He's what a gentleman. What a gentleman. Beautiful soul he's got. You know, then Leo saying Leah's. Oh, that's Leah's. Yeah, that's his daughter. What a lovely little girl. Colin Blackshaw saying, hi, Ben, Lee, Mia. Brilliant. I'm going to read them all. Hey, Colin, from Mia. Steve D saying, love Ange, but his comments are ill-advised. All he's done is put it under the media spotlight more. Well, it's personal opinion, but my personal opinion, I think I love him when he speaks in the media. He puts people to task as well. You know, when they ask him stupid questions, he'll say, he doesn't say mate after everything, but you know, he'll put them in their place if they said something particularly stupid or rude. Right, Steve D, absolutely so. He's making a rod for his own back. See, Ben's agreeing with him, where I don't agree with that. I think you know what, you've got to understand the mentality of a man. If you believe, when you believe in something so strongly and then people question you, yeah, obviously, if you believe in it so stringently, you will question that person who's questioning you what you're doing, yeah, and you're not put him in his place or put her in her place. You're put your argument, and that's what he does. I think he says, look, this is how I want to play. I'm not quite there yet. I see lots of things that need to be better within my system, right? And he's quite clear cut about that, you know. So just listen to what his words. I know I'm not saying you're not listening to him, guys. I'm just saying that he's quite a philosophical man, right? And he is diligent as well. He's seeing where he needs improvements, and he's making a mental picture in his own head of what he wants. And when he gets his team assembled, then we can judge him. Yeah, if he's still pants and we're still leaking goals, we're still making the same errors because the players are not doing what they're supposed to do and having the desire to get back even. That's his job as a manager as well. That's one thing I would say. You've got to drill to these players that if you're not running back for me, then you're not in the team. Don't reward them by keeping them there. You know, drop them, drop their ass to the bench. You know, like he did. He dropped Basuma's ass to the bench. He brings in Højbjerg. Højbjerg has an indifferent game, scores an own goal. He'll be on the bench. I can't see Højbjerg starting this game. No way. Right, David Shear saying can't understand players' lack of initiative. Yeah, football IQ is very important, but desire. You can have all the football IQ in the world, right? If you haven't got the desire and the willingness to help your team and help yourself as well, because if you're not busting your gut to get back when you're supposed to, then you leave your team exposed. I would go up to that player and I'll have a go at him. I say, why didn't you do your job? Yeah, that's my job. If I'm captain or if I'm not captain, I'd still go over to him or go up to my captain and I'll say to my captain, tell him off. I'm a big man. I would tell him, right? What would you do, Chang? Would you go, if you see a player, right, not pulling their weight, right? You're not the captain, right? Would you go straight over to him or would you go to your captain? Would you go to your manager? What would you do?
I will go to my manager first and foremost if I'm not part of that leadership group or if it's not my place to speak out of turn, because every player in that team has their role to play and they must know their place in the team. So let's say assuming I am Udogi and I feel that Pedro Porro isn't really doing a good job on the other wing, I won't
Yeah.
necessarily confront him. I might bring it up with my defensive vice captain or someone from the leadership group like Sun Heung-min, Romero,
Yeah.
or Madison, and maybe on a training ground or at a Hotspur way, I will bring it up to Big Ange to lay into him or to get his point across, because it's good that players they feel something, or rather they feel that they have their own responsibility to play within the team, but to actually sort of want to confront someone else. This actually reminds me of that. Do you remember that one time Hugo Lloris tried to confront Sun Heung-min
Yeah.
at
He was the
halftime when
captain
we
though,
played
remember?
Everton? That is
Yeah, he
correct.
was, yeah.
And I feel that yes, this is how this sort of matter should be taken into consideration, but preferably not in the public view, preferably not out in the open in front of everyone, and
Mhm.
sort of like a show that we are not unified by openly squabbling in public. So maybe do it with a bit of discretion. behind closed doors rather than out in the
Yeah.
open. Because if again, this comes back to how Big Ange wants to discipline his players, how he feels the players should go about their duties and how they should take responsibility rather than take matters into their own hands. I have seen enough this season to tell me that this current leadership group can work if they are given the right kind of players around them who have that kind of understanding and a sort of respect for each other. But we are still a work in progress and there still is room for improvement. So hopefully we'll see a more unified, a more cohesive team come next season. And as far as tonight is concerned, I would feel that there is no better place to pick up the pieces from the very disappointing and deflating loss to Arsenal than tonight at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chang. I really do agree with you, right? When I was playing in midfield, right, I had a really good central defensive midfielder next to me, and we had a fantastic striker called Brendan McKenzie. She was really brilliant, right? So the one who worked with me, we had a very good relationship, and we would communicate. So communication within that with outside that leader group is very important. And if you respect each other as players, right, you complement each other on the football pitch as well, right? So I'm like the cam, she's the defensive midfielder. She's winning the ball back for me, right, very diligently, and she's passing me the ball. That gives me respect for her. Yeah. And also when we're talking to one another, to get the team more fired up, right? When say we've conceded an early goal, for example, and like we talk to one another and say, let's get back in the game, because there's always leadership groups outside the leadership groups as well. You're not the captain, you're not the vice captain, but you're got a partnership with someone. And we've seen it many times at Spurs, where you've seen Ericsson and Dele Alli link up so well because they've got good communication and they understand each other's play, and there's a mutual respect for each other's strengths. So these things build good character in teams, right? And it really does play well, right? And then when something goes wrong, right, then the leadership group, right, take charge, right? So if it's gone wrong within my clique, in my team, like I've got a clique with my central defensive midfielder and my other midfielder who does a lot of the dog's body work, but doesn't get all the praise that the central defensive midfielder gets. Like they're the number 6 or number 8. It doesn't matter. I don't really put numbers on football. I'm just saying, if you've got 2 defensive players behind you and you're the creative one must always work hard to produce those creative juices. And the other 2, right, you have to have a click with them. You have to work as a team within the team. Do you see what I mean? Right? So if your click is good,
what you mean, yes.
Yeah, you can win matches just on those clicks. Yeah, because you've got such a brilliant understanding. But when it goes wrong or you're off form, right, and say 2 of the players are off form and you're on form, so you have a little word with them to G them up. It's not only the captains, you don't even have to scold them, you encourage. I always think you encourage rather than scold. Like when you've got a little child and the child's being naughty, but they don't realise they're being naughty. Right? Sometimes those players don't realise they're having a pants game, some of them, because they haven't done what you wanted them to do or passed the ball quick enough to you. So you make it clear to them. You say, look, if you passed it to me then, I would have been clean through. So it's all communication. It really makes a difference to how a team clicks. Yeah. And the groups within groups, right? But then you have to have a unity as a team as well. When you're all 11 players on the same page and it all clicks, you get Man City. Yeah, that's Man City for you. All the clicks. They're not big-headed enough to think. De Bruyne doesn't think he's big-headed enough to not rely on Rodri. And Grealish, he's out the team, yeah? So he's fighting for his team, right? So when he gets on and he gets his chance, he goes, right, this is my chance to do my click again with De Bruyne, because I had a very good click with him. Now Mahrez is gone and Gundogan is gone. Who am I relying on? I'm looking for another player to click with, yeah? So all these, Pep Guardiola is probably the best coach at making team unity. They work like Trojans when they haven't got the ball, and they work like Trojans when they've got the ball. That's the difference. Yeah. And that it's not even a fine margin. It's something that Pep has drilled into those Man City players. And that's why they're the cream of the crop. They have got more technical players, don't get me wrong, but they work hard when they're out of possession. And Pep won't have anything different.
Do you think we'll ever see this under Big Ange over at Spurs, Queen Elly?
I think so. But he's gonna have the players just under the elite ones, or even under those elite ones, yeah? Right? He might have so Man City are going to get the cream of the crop because they're winning the trophies. We win a trophy under Ange, say we win the league title, for example, right? Players are going to think, Spurs up and coming. Yeah, they've already won the league, right? I might join them instead of going to Man City because they didn't win the league, right? I'm going to join them. And it might be the first fiddle player that we're after. Yeah, so we get him. And then the next season we win the FA Cup and the league, right? I'm talking hypothetically here now. It could happen though, right? So the next season, they won the FA Cup. They did the double. I might not go Real Madrid this year. I'll go to Spurs instead. If I'm a young, brilliant player, but I want to sow my seeds somewhere else. And I've got a very good chance because I can see the progress this club are making. That's where Man City, right? They seized the power, didn't they? They got the money. They seized the power. They got the best coach. They attracted the players. When they won their first trophy, they started attracting all the players. And then Man City were born. And they're flying. They're like a baby. When you give a baby their first toy. Whoosh! They've wiped the floor with everybody. Yeah? So I'm not saying we can do exactly what Man City do, but we've got potential, but we have to win the trophies because that's the prize that attracts the players in as well. I'm not saying that it's going to attract away from Man City all the time, but it gives us a chance. The player his head might be turned. I'll go to Spurs instead. Yeah. So let's see what happens. I'm really hoping that my utopian world happens, but we have to get, even Steve Perriman said it, get one trophy under your bag, under your belt, right? Sorry, not your bag, under your belt. And then the rest will follow. Man City are proof. All the teams that win trophies, they win them regularly, don't they? And that proves that if you win trophies, you attract players. And if you win trophies, it creates a fantastic vibe and a good spirit around the club. Yeah? So let's end it on there, Chang. It's been a fantastic stream. I'm just going to say Sir Bozo because I don't want to miss you out. Welcome to the chat, Sir Bozo. Lovely, handsome boy, I can see. You see Premier League making fun of B White pulling Vicario's gloves. Shameful. They wanted Arsenal to get all for. Yeah. Right, so Bozo, my brother pointed this out as well because I watched it twice and I saw him do it, but I knew the referee wouldn't give it because it's a bit of shithousery, right? But those are sort of shithousery that the players get away with. What do you think, Chang, about that?
Okay, I believe what Sir Bozo is referencing to here is the tweets on social media, or rather the post on social media that the Premier League put out, because Premier League did a clip. They clipped that incident where Ben White was messing around with Vicario's gloves prior to them scoring from the corner.
Yeah, he was pulling his hand.
So I thought that was very disgraceful.
Yeah,
that was actually very. It's actually disgraceful not only from Ben White but by Premier League the
Yeah,
official Premier League social media account making fun, or rather, they are making lights of what is deemed to be, you could deem it to be an offense by a player on another player, leading up to a goal for
yeah,
the offending player. So I think that should not be taken lightly. It should not be
shameful.
make taken out of context, or it shouldn't be made fun of, because if you do that, then it absolutely diminishes the you call it the standard of refereeing or the officiating for the game. If
Yeah,
things
I
are
think
like
it's
this are left unchecked.
disgraceful. I really do think it's disgraceful to do that. And like, I know we've had decisions go our way with VAR, but this is something different. You're making a mockery of a situation that cost
Exactly.
us. And
Exactly.
that first goal gave Arsenal their mojo, and all they had to do is win another penalty, get in the right position because they could see the weakness. Everybody's seen the weakness in our defending, and they play on it. So yeah, I think that's shameful. And the PG, is it the PGMOL that look at these
PGMOL,
things?
correct.
If you make a
PGMOL.
So if Spurs make a complaint, they have to look at that, right? So yeah. So Shane, listen, we've come to the end of our stream. Hopefully we'll get a good result at Chelsea and we'll play really, really well as well. Because I want to see the team play well. I haven't seen them play well for some
As do
time.
I, as do all of us.
Right, for both halves, that's what I mean. I mean, we weren't that bad against Arsenal in the first half, but we weren't cooking. In the second half, we raised our game. Yeah, so I want to get two fantastic halves and blow Chelsea away because he's my future son-in-law is a Chelsea fan. So I'll be phoning him up straight away. Actually, I'm on a stream with Kuva. So what I'll do a quick phone call. I'll just say, we battered you, Chelsea. Right. So where can we find you next, Chang?
So later on tonight, I will be
Okay.
over at Time Added On with Mr.
Yeah.
Alan Clark for the Chelsea watch along, and after that as well, I hope to do another weekend watch along over on Tel Cockerel and talk and ball for our weekend fixture. And I believe we are supposed to meet up again as well. I believe it's either Monday or Tuesday at noon with Miss Kate
Yeah.
and Jimbo over at Just the Girl Who Loves Spurs.
Yeah. Just to go. Do you have the links for their? Can you put them in the chat? Can you put the links in the chat? Because I
Sure, I
haven't
will.
typed it
I will
out.
put them up now.
I've been a little bit unprofessional, but that's Queen Elly for you, I do what I want, innit? I rely on Chang anyway, because Chang's my technical man. It's not hard to put the links, but sometimes whoever you mention, obviously Just a Girl Who Loves Spurs and Time Added On, two fantastic shows. You've got Alan, who's, you know what, I like Alan. I don't always agree with him on certain aspects of Ange, but we can agree to disagree and keep civil. And there's other shows that I like to mention. But the other one I wanted to mention is the Free Spurs Boys. I finally got my T-shirt from Bobby Kay. Look how beautiful that is. Isn't that lovely? Yeah. So I've got two. I wore one to bed, and this one I'm going to keep for good because this one's more my size. The other one's extra large. It's a bit baggy, to say the least. But it's good when you're wearing it in bed because when you're in bed and it's cotton, I think. Yeah, it is cotton. So it's a bit more airy. Yeah, but this one I'm going to wear to the next Spurs game. Yeah, and I'll give you some free advertising, Bobby. And then I'll get one off Kate with Just a Girl Who Loves Spurs on. And obviously for the Burnley game is our last home game. But we've got Manchester City
Yep,
before then on the 15th of May, I believe. And then we play
that
Burnley and
is correct.
Sheffield
Yes.
United is our last game. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to
Yes.
that Man City game. And I hope and pray that Arsenal are out of the question. They can't win the league. But the thing is, they play Man United, aren't they, Arsenal? I think they've got Manchester United away in the next game, I believe, if I'm right. And then they've got some easier games. I've forgotten their fixtures because I'm not really interested in Arsenal, to tell you the truth. They can do one, right? But Chang, have you put them in the chat? Did you put the
Yes, I have.
the link in the
Yes,
chat?
I
Yes. So let me bring them up. Right. So here we go. They're down the bottom, aren't they? Yeah. Let's go past them. God, bloody hell. We've got so many people chatting. It's fantastic. You guys, you keep us busy, man. You know what I mean? Here we go. Go down to the bottom. Right, where are they? Are they in the private chat?
No, they are in the comment section. If
They're
you
in the
scroll right down
comments.
to the comments, I believe you'll be able to see the links that I've put up for Just a Girl Who Loves Spurs.
Oh yeah, I've
as
got
well
the first
as
one.
Time Added On.
There's time added on. So my live watch along build up on https /twice www.youtube.com/ time added on starts at 6 p.m. tonight. So catch that show, guys. And then tonight we've got a 4 o'clock show as well with Tel Cockerel and Colin. They're doing the score predictions for the Chelsea game as well. So, and obviously talking about the Chelsea game. And then have we got the three Spurs boys in here? We've got Just a Girl Who Loves Spurs, first of all. That's my lovely Kate and Jimbo, come on, and Chang when he joins us for the score predictions. I think I got 2 score predictions right this week, if I'm right. I can't remember, but I think I did. So Chang's put the link in for Just a Girl Who Loves Spurs, https /2 times www.youtube.com/ Just a Girl Who Loves Spurs. Yeah, come on.
And if you look right at the bottom, 3 Spurs
Yeah,
boys is
I've got
right at the
it.
bottom, the last
I
link.
have got it. Bobby Kay with Kuva as well. Kuva and the Kang, what a fantastic show. And then they've got the boys doing WeCap, where they predicted the scores and then they do a roundup of all the league goals. So we've got www.youtube.com /Free Spurs Boys. Yeah. Come on, let's all support our community. There's other channels like My High Hotspur for Leo. Obviously, he's going to be doing a lot more content, he said to me yesterday. So he's going to be at it, getting more and more content out there for all you Spurs lovers. And I'll just leave you. I think Chang is frozen. Elly, how is Kate doing? Hope she's okay after Arsenal. Yeah, there was an incident that she's reported. So hopefully the gentleman who was giving Kate a lot of abuse is found out. Let's see how that one pans out. I'm sure the police are on it already. Either way, tune in at 4 o'clock to join. Chang's come back. There he is. There you go. You froze, Chang. I was just saying, tune in for 4 o'clock. Catch you at 6 o'clock. Catch Kate on her next show. I believe, what are we on now? Wednesday, Thursday. She'll probably do a show tomorrow and Friday. So it's all good. Stay Spurs. Get on to that Chelsea game. If you're not going, cheer us on the TV. And as always, lead us out, Chang. What are you going to say for Spurs?
Come on, you Tottenham!
Woo! Come on, you Spurs. Bye-bye, everybody. And look after yourselves. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And I'm going to just find the music to see you out. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. And see you for the next show. Bye-bye. Mwah.